and then I'll tweet the links out just because I want to make sure they go out. Send them, put it on Gab, Facebook, everything, just because people seem to really like when I do streams. And it seems to be kind of like half and half on my channel at this point. As slow as it grows, people tell me, either they really like my streams and they don't really care about whatever content that I do on my channel outside of that, or people that just like my, normal content, just see the streams as something additional. But it's funny how many people just love coming into my streams and just hanging out and all that shit. All right, so it's Facebook's good. Okay, we're good. So yeah, this is Louis, and I'm here tonight with Sargon. So welcome, Sargon, to another stream of mine.
Hello, my dudes.
And we're going to be going through a whole litany of news articles. This is going to be a newscast where it's going to be a little bit more serious, although we got a couple articles mixed in here that are some bullshit articles that are just talking about how, the communists aren't feminist enough. Chinese communists aren't feminist enough. That's a real problem, but maybe we can get to that later. But I will share my screen, and we will get to the first story, which is actually a somewhat genuinely annoying story because this is the opposite direction that I wish the UN would go in, because I think that the UN as a force in the world, from my idealist perspective, could be a very good force that could benefit everyone, including the United States, despite people's, suspicions of them and their seeming waste of money and all the things that they do. They recently, I forget the name, something Bae Kin Moon, something like that. He was a South Korean politician that was elected to the UN in all the way back in, I believe, 2006 or 7. He has finished his 2 terms, and Antonio, are you better with Spanish, Sargon? Do you see this guy's name?
No.
Gutierrez.
Gutierrez.
Yeah, Gutierrez. So this, what is he? He's Portuguese. He was he's replaced Bae Kin Moon as the Secretary General of the United Nations. And so what he did on the 31st of December was give this about a minute and a half, and we're not going to play it because it won't play through because I have headphones on. But he put out this statement, just talking about the new year. And this video was surprisingly like macabre, negative, alarmist, in my opinion. Like, he says that, on New Year's Day 2018, I'm not issuing an appeal. I'm issuing an alert, a red alert for our world. And I find that pretty staggering because in the world that we live in right now, there is chaos, there are problems. But even when compared to, let's say, September 12th, 2001, I think things are pretty good right now. Despite everything,
this guy's the socialist, isn't it?
Yeah, he's an actual socialist, and I don't say that to.
Let me just get up his. Let me get up his.
Yeah, go find his Wikipedia. I already looked it up. He is an actual, like, very significant person in Portugal who is a socialist. He's part of the Socialist Party there, and has been for, as far as I can tell, a very long time. So this guy, as far as I understand him, is far left.
Right. And so let me give you a quick rundown. Excuse me. So his political career began in 1974 when he became a member of the Socialist Party of Portugal. Now, the Socialist Party of Portugal was created in West Germany.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So just to be clear, they had an explicit reference to a classless society without Marxism, which is very interesting. This, I presume, they're like coming from the sort of Kropotkin school of socialism, as in these are sort of like, I don't know, I guess they must be some form of like anarcho-communist or something.
Yeah.
I at least they're not Marxist-Leninists, which is good.
Right.
Good fucking start. But still, it's not like a brilliant, brilliant stuff.
No, it's still incredibly fucking utopian.
Yeah, it's insanely utopian. So he was the Office of Secretary of State of Industry, deputy for Castelo Branco. I don't know anything about Portugal's politics. Leader of the parliamentary bench for the Socialist Party. He was a member of the team that negotiated Portugal's entry into the European Union in the 70s. Founding member of the Portuguese Refugee Council in 91. In 92, after the Socialists' third consecutive defeat in parliamentary elections, he became Secretary General of the Socialist Party and leader of the opposition during Silva's government. At the time, he was the party's third leader in 6 years. He was also one of 25 vice presidents of Socialist International in September 1992. I bet that's filled with Marxist-Leninists, though.
Yeah. The internationalists, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. His election represented a break with tradition for the Socialists. Not only was Gutierrez not associated with either the faction around then-President and former Prime Minister Soares, or the party's left-wing lead, Sampaio, but he was also a devout Catholic. Okay, it's interesting. He's not as cookie-cutter socialist as I was expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty.
But would you qualify him? Yeah, I was going to say, would you qualify him as far left? Because based on what I've seen about him, I would.
Yeah, I mean, from everything from his Wikipedia bio, I would absolutely suggest he was very far left.
And to me, the thing is that, you know, if we lived in a different era, maybe then, I mean, I don't really know if it would be good at any point in history to have someone who was far left or far right as the Secretary General of the UN. But it's not good to have someone that is so distinctly partisan, while at the same time that you see definitely a shift happening in the Western world. I do think it is accurate to say that nationalism, quote unquote, is on the rise in the Western world, that it is becoming a topic of discussion again. But the issue is that it's not coming out of the fucking ether for no reason. There are some genuine reasons why nationalism as a topic is coming up. So in this video, he has only a few things to say, and one of the things that he goes out of his way to denigrate is nationalism and xenophobia. Now, before we get into this, because I'm sure we can, because I think we all know what he's fucking talking about. But the thing is, has the UN in the last 40, 50 years, or while it was, you know, previously under for whatever it was, like fucking 16 years, I have to look how long it was. But
sorry to interrupt. So I've just been just before we move on from this guy's beliefs, I've just found something quite interesting. So he's the president of the Socialist International Movement, which is entirely a globalist socialist organization, as you might think from the title. So the idea of socialism has caught the imagination of people across the world. All the peoples of the world should be involved in the process of transforming our societies and promoting new hope for mankind. The Socialist International calls on men and women committed to peace and progress to work together and translate this hope into reality. Jeremy Corbyn must have an erection by this point.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's probably definitely somebody that Corbyn would like.
Yeah. They, I mean, it's just all socialist jargon, basically.
Yeah. So, but the thing is that you can imagine why this guy would just on his own have a problem with nationalism. Like UN it isn't required, or current events isn't required. But my point is, in talking about nationalism and xenophobia, especially xenophobia, the last Secretary General of the United Nations was South Korean. I'm not sure how many people understand anything about South Korea or East Asia in general,
it's really
but xenophobia is pretty much their bread and butter and has been for a fucking 1,000 years, if not longer. That's what they do. They live in fucking ethno-states. That's what they do. Xenophobia is their thing. Every single one of their countries have incredibly stringent fucking immigration regulation and are incredibly fucking collectivist.
That's only because they've been hugely brutal to one another when one of them's been conquered.
Right.
Like they just
I
have
mean,
no thought for the sanctity of life. I'm sorry.
yes, I've had, and it doesn't matter whether they're the Chinese communists or not. Like they all have that same kind of sentiment where they are brutal to one another. Even
Yeah.
the Japanese, especially the Japanese,
Especially
when
the
they
Japanese.
were
Holy fuck.
an empire, they were about as brutal could get in the modern era when they conquered most of the Pacific. They were just I can't even begin to say, like, totalitarian. I don't even know if it's the right word, because totalitarianism is something that at some point, maybe outside of, like, if you follow the laws, maybe then you could live a somewhat acceptable life, maybe not a good life, but an acceptable life. But under the Japanese, like, they were brutal. Like they just the violence and
Well, they weren't really
the
humans, were they? They didn't
yeah,
really
they
consider
treated
them.
they treated every other, every other person that wasn't specifically Japanese that they had conquered, they treated them as not even less than human, but not even human.
Yeah.
They were brutal in their every approach and grotesque. I mean, there's no other way to describe the way that they were, other than they were grotesque in their behavior towards others. But the thing is that, does that make Japan now a dog shit country that we should should live in guilt over whatever the fuck they did, 60, 70, 80 years before I was fucking born? Or, should we still be beating up at the Japanese for that? Obviously not. But the thing is that when this guy says nationalism and xenophobia, he's talking about the United States. He's talking about UKIP. He's talking about, Tommy Robinson. He's talking about Donald Trump. He's talking about people that are just not globalists and are not afraid to say so.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about.
Interesting is so I'm looking at socialistinternational.org still, and under point 20 on their principles, they say individual rights are fundamental to the values of socialism.
Sure.
That's a statement.
What if you're a dissident? What if you're a dissident?
Yeah, exactly. What if you're a fascist? Like, are your individual rights still fundamental to the values of socialism? But the thing is, right, I actually know what this is, because reading Kropotkin really helped, because he called the Marxist-Leninists, he just referred to them as collectivists. The anarcho-communists genuinely think of themselves as individualists.
Right. I think I've heard you talk about this before.
Yeah, because they want everyone to suffer in the same poverty that they do, frankly.
Yeah. They have a very weird way of understanding the world and even seeing themselves. But like I said, it's utopian. You can justify anything if you have a utopian mindset.
Yeah, and Kropotkin even says that it is utopian, and he just accepts that. It's like, great.
And that helps.
No, I'm not kidding. He literally uses those words. And he also says that it's inevitable that the revolution will be taken over by the Marxist-Leninists. And it's like, well, then why would we do it?
Why would you even bother then?
Yeah, so it's just like, I've actually written up an analysis of The Conquest of Bread, which is the one that all the ANCOMs recommended to me. So I will be recording that at some point in the new year, because it's just stupid. It's like a child's fantasy,
Yeah. Well, that's anarchism for you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. We can move on to. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know if we want to move on to. I guess we can jump onto this and jump off of it. So the other. This was earlier in December, but I didn't cover it. There was a porn star, or a porn actress, I should say. I don't like the word or the phrase porn star. August Ames killed herself after she had a bad interaction with social justice dickheads on social media. Now, there's a good chance that this may not have been the single cause for why she did kill herself, because she appeared to have serious mental problems before this. But she had a bad interaction after saying that she wasn't going to fuck somebody who was involved in gay porn.
It's pretty fucking incredible, this, isn't it? A bunch of SJWs shame a woman for not having sex with someone. Fucking bravo. That is
right. I mean, and this is why, like, when you said principles, like, this is our socialist principles, I scoffed, because if you are part of this sort of collectivist mindset, especially from this leftist perspective, you have no principles. It's all ideological. You have no principles. So if you are one of these people, you're a feminist, and it's why I say I'm not a feminist, and I reject the idea of, like, when people talk, and we're going to get to Iran, when people talk like, oh, this is the true feminist, it's like, no, feminists in the West are the true fucking feminists as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. What
and
Iran
it's just
is liberalism.
Yes, exactly. It needs liberalism, not feminism, because feminism is a totalitarian movement and is basically a borderline religion. And the only reason it's not a religion is that it's so fucking contradictory and incoherent as an ideology. That's why it's not a religion.
It doesn't preclude it from being a religion, mate.
Well, I'm just saying that I wouldn't deem it that, because at least with religion there is some fucking orthodoxy, unlike feminism, where there's none.
Oh no, there is orthodoxy now. Intersectionalism has conquered feminism.
True enough, because the thing is that I think that's why this fell apart here, because even if you were, let's say, an old school quote unquote white feminist, and you said that body integrity means more than anything else, and that's why August should be in the right, body integrity.
You got a fucking gay man with HIV, mate.
Right. Well, that's the thing, is that the like the intersectional thing took the progressive stack is the reason why they attacked her, because gay means more than her body integrity.
Yeah. Sure, she's being homophobic.
Yeah.
A bitch. How dare she? You must have sex with this man, or you're a homophobe. Oh, sorry. I haven't. Yeah. I must be a raging homophobe, because I haven't had sex with any man.
Yeah.
Imagine how much of a fucking homophobe I am.
But yeah, I just thought I would bring this up because one of the things that I really take issue with when people talk about feminism and that sort of thing is the fact that it's a fundamentally dishonest movement. Even if you have people in it that are decent actors, even with like Christina Hoff Sommers, who still to this day claims to be a feminist and claims to champion feminism, it's like, even with the good people involved, it's so blatantly obvious that this label, this ideology, is unsalvageable. Yeah. And I don't think it's worth including yourself in that label, because like, you to some degree have to own the fact that your group, your ideological group, pushed this person until she fucking killed herself. That's what they're directly responsible for, because they harassed her.
Can I just interrupt you with a super chat?
Sure.
One article done. Now talk about anime for 2 hours, Lewis.
No, it's all right. When I start doing that, people start checking out. So I want to keep.
The dude said $100, so I think now you're obliged to.
I don't think that's $100 American. Oh, maybe it is $100 American. Holy shit!
So now you better say thank you to Far Squawk, and you better fucking start talking weeb shit.
Just real quick, Far Squawk, thank you for the money. You're a fucking bourgeois cunt. And we're gonna continue on. I'm just gonna ignore you now. That's how this goes. I don't care how much money you give me. Okay, I am not your fucking Patreon whore. So we're moving on.
This is how Chad liberals operate.
Yeah, exactly. You aren't gonna free speech me.
Yeah. You don't censor him by giving him buckets of money.
So let's get to a sad story. I'm not sure how much you're going to care about this, Sargon, but it is a sad story.
It's a weep shit.
No. Filthy Frank, whose name is Joji.
Oh, I fucking love Filthy Frank. I know. I heard about this.
He has retired from YouTube comedy and appears to be very serious about that. And it's because of a few reasons, and one of them, the big one, in my opinion, is that he doesn't enjoy the content anymore. And I think that that's one of the main reasons why people stop doing certain things, is they stop enjoying it. And that, to me, is very hard to hear. When I saw this, I supposedly people already knew to some degree, but I heard about this and I was completely shocked. I was like, wow, this is terrible news, because I still consider Filthy Frank to be one of my absolute favorite channels on YouTube. I thought genuinely that he was a comedic genius.
Yeah.
And in absurdist humor. Like this is a category of humor that he participated in.
He's a lot like a modern Monty Python.
Yes. I think that he had a lot of talent and a lot of raw talent and a lot of charisma. That is one of the reasons why he got so big so fast, was because he would put out content that people would genuinely enjoy, that could spoof and make fun of certain things that people even liked, such as him like shitting on weebs and all the things and that sort of thing. Like he would regularly do that, but it was done in such a way that was funny. And it's incredibly hard for, in my opinion, for anyone to really hate the guy and hate his content. You could not get the content, I would say, but I don't really think I've ever seen anyone say like, oh, I can't stand Filthy Frank's channel, I don't find him funny. I don't think I've ever run into somebody that said that.
No.
So yeah, this was very sad to hear. And I also do know, based on videos that I've seen of his, that he has been having health issues for quite a while now. And so, if the choice was continuing his content or getting healthy, obviously I would say get healthy. Yeah. Because I don't want this guy to, I want this guy to be around, even if he isn't doing comedy.
Ultimately, I mean, if he's like, I no longer enjoy producing the content he's producing, don't do it.
Yeah, I agree.
The magic will definitely be not, it'll be demonstrable in the content that the shine is worn off and the magic won't be there. And it'll just be beating a dead horse for cash.
And the thing is that there's nothing to say that the guy can't, get better in terms of his health and then do some other things. He's been doing music and that, music videos and sort of like rap to some degree. And, you never know. He could sit down one day or run into somebody, one of the people that have been, a part of his regulars on his channel, and that he could run into them. They could say, hey, for old time's sake, let's do a skit. And it could be the next day he says, you know what, I'm going back. I'm going to go back to my channel. I'm going to record a skit. Maybe it's just a one-off. Yeah. And, my hope is that after he gives himself some time off, allows himself to recuperate, does what he wants to do, and then somewhere down the line reconsiders whether he wants to come back and do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you never know what he'll think, what he'll do in a year's time or whatever. I mean, he might...
Right.
Like, he might not produce the same content, but he might still do comedy, You don't know
absolutely.
what he's going to do.
One of the things with him is he could invent a new character. That's what I think would get him back into this, is that he sits down one day, he invents a new character, and he says, this character's great. I'm going to do a video about him, and it blows up.
Yeah.
Because I think regardless of what he does, it's going to blow up, because he is incredibly famous at this point.
Yeah, everyone loves him. So.
Yeah. So my hope is that he gets better and comes back somewhere down the line. Let's see here. Let's just move on to this. So this is actually an old story, and I'm not going to go into this story, but I just thought I would mention the fact that, like, fake hate crimes have to be at an all-time high.
Yeah.
They have to be, because every fucking week I see at a minimum 1 to 2 stories where it is just some insane fake hate crime. And it's incredible how many of these people that are creating these these fake hate crimes are black men. There's so many black men spray painting. Like, there's a story from like today or yesterday about a fucking guy in New York City that was running around spraying swastikas, and he was a black guy.
Yeah. And so I just want to say, look, if you're black and you find yourself writing the word niggers on something or spray painting swastikas, whatever it is, right? It wasn't the right wing that made you do that. Right. It was the left wing that made you do that.
Absolutely.
You're probably a leftist. You're probably going around faking this, like KKK, whatever it is. That's not the right wing. I mean, the Republicans weren't the KKK. All of this like racial stuff, the Republicans have been trying to get away from that for years.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's the far left that's putting this in your head. It's not them, it's your guys. I don't know why any black people would ever vote Democrat or ever support the Democrats or anything like that. It seems like a bunch of white people manipulating black people to me.
Well, I would say that, I talked about recently my, or not my mayor, but the mayor of Buffalo, Byron Brown, who is black himself. I would say that if you're black and you're from Buffalo, maybe then you would vote for him because he has been doing quite a bit for the city. But outside of like local elections like that, on the national scale, I would say that at this point you really have to take a hard look at the people that you're going to vote for, because the Democratic Party at this point is so, and we're going to get to one of the stories about that. They're so just racially charged at this point that I think it's pretty easy to see why, and this is a genuine fact, that the black vote of black male vote specifically is slowly but surely just bleeding away from the Democratic Party. There are more and more independent black men.
So someone, Will Hanna, Republicans are better to tell me how, because they don't want to make you think of your race all the time. As far as I can tell, anyway. I mean, there might be some that obviously do.
Yeah.
But like the official public policies of the Republicans seem to be anti-race in general.
Yeah. I would say that as it relates to race, it's a lot easier with the Republican Party to, if you have, let's say, like a racist within the party who's in like the actual leadership, it's a lot easier to have them run out than it would be to have a racist in the Democratic Party.
Oh, the Democratic Party will promote their racists
because you have genuine racists running for like leadership positions,
it's
and
my
they
job
have
to shut down white people. Louis, do you mind? I'm shutting you down now because you're white.
Right. That I think that person ran for the chair of the party.
Yeah. What the fuck? You're a white woman. Sit down. Just sit down. No one could possibly vote for you on the principle that you're white, and that's how you've declared it. You fucking idiot. That's literally her own point.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of articles saved up. Eventually, I'm going to do it, and it's going to be a video where I just go through, like, you know, it's basically going to be a video of just proving the fact that in the United States right now, we do have a problem with anti-white sentiment, that it's not just like a right-wing talking point. It is something that genuinely exists, and it is a problem, and it needs to stop. And one of the articles, I think I talked about the last stream, I know I mentioned it at one point, that you remember in Chicago where those couple black, it was like 3 or 4 black kids kidnapped this handicapped white kid and beat him up and tortured him. You remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
The black girl that led the charge and filmed it all, she got off. She got probation. And it's like, wow.
So I just want to point out that you have a hell of a patron in Fastwalk who's just giving you another $100.
Yeah,
I'll remember this the next time I try to free speech you, you prole. Catgirls can't consent.
Yes, that's correct. Catgirls can't consent. So I appreciate that. I'm gonna wait to see if that money actually drops, because I get the feeling that's a bullshit link there, brother. It's $200 in one stream. What do you work on, fucking Wall Street, or you're some sort of Bay Area Silicon Valley faggot?
What? Yeah, but the thing is, why would we think that there are people in these areas that aren't concerned about the march of socialism? Like,
how they would?
Some sort of millionaire.
I mean, thank you, Far Squawk. We'll get to it later, though. You're not going to free speech me away from these important topics of fake.
Before we move on again, I've been scanning through this list of principles, the Socialist International Orchid. No. The thing is,
go ahead.
I don't think these people are socialists. Like, these are not socialists, right? Individual and freedom and basic rights in society are the preconditions of human dignity for all. What the fuck are you talking about if you think you're talking about socialism?
Well,
when has that been a pillar of socialism?
The question is whether it actually includes property rights.
Well, that's what I've been looking for, actually.
Yeah, that to me is the separation between a liberal philosophy and basically a half-screwed communist philosophy, is whether property rights are respected or not.
No, but listen to this, though. Right? Socialists protect the inalienable rights to life and physical safety, to freedom of belief and freedom of expression of opinion. When? When have they ever done it? To freedom of association and protection from torture and degradation. Jesus, I do not. This sounds like liberalism to me. Throw in some property rights, and you've got the perfect
Well,
description of liberty.
I mean, maybe that's the Tariq or whatever it is of the left. You know, it's like the National Socialist, whatever Workers' Party. You know what I mean? Just throw everything in there.
I mean,
It sounds like propaganda.
Well, this is the thing. This does not represent socialism as I have ever seen it being represented. Like, put this up on the screen, and I'll read out this little paragraph here. It's
All right.
Just listen to this, right? So, socialists are committed to achieve freedom from hunger and want, genuine social security, and the right to work. Well, okay, well there we go. You mean you're a capitalist?
Right.
That's what the capitalists have achieved. What have the socialists achieved, apart from piles of bodies?
Right.
Sorry, yeah, Karen. I'm just baffled by this.
Well, the thing is that the what the fuck? One of these websites is triggering my fucking anti-malware. The thing about capitalism, in my opinion, is that there's been this from capitalism, corporatism has been created.
Oh yeah.
And I think that one of the problems that exists, and I've seen this even with Jimmy Dore, and I've seen him say this, is he says, corporatism is capitalism. And it's like, no, it's not, Jimmy.
Put a stake through my eye, Jimmy. Corporatism is when you let governments say that money is free speech. That's what corporatism is, Jimmy. Okay, it's when you can allow a corporation to donate unlimited amounts of money to a political candidate. That's what fucking corporatism is, Jimmy. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's an inherent weakness in democracy, and we should have thought about it in advance. It's like, hang on, if we let these corporations become ultra powerful and wealthy, which we are going to, we've got no mechanism to stop them, why wouldn't they just buy our politicians? Good point. Maybe, just maybe, politicians shouldn't be allowed to accept donations. Maybe politicians should be state-funded. I can't think of a better solution.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is that one of the things that I've heard people that are in my own audience that are conservative say that they do have a problem with the idea of public funding or whatever. But my thing is that, people within my own audience that are conservative at least will concede that corruption in the United States is a problem. But the issue is
legalized.
Yes, but the issue is that the thought leaders on the right, which is the distinct difference between my followers and people like Ben Shapiro, is that
looking at you, Shapiro,
they don't even accept the idea that corruption is a problem outside of groups like Planned Parenthood and unions. But it's like, okay, what's the problems with unions? What are they doing? Oh, they're giving money to candidates. Okay, yeah. So when corporations do it, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's like, well, then you're a fucking retard.
It's because theoretically, labor unions would be a socialist ideal, but.
It's the thing. Like the thing is that I have a lot of conservative viewers that agree with me. But the thing is that, like, I've occasionally run into somebody who says that corruption isn't a problem, and I say, okay, does that mean that unions should give candidates unlimited money? And they go, no, that shouldn't be the case. And it's like, well, why? Explain to me. And it's just blah, 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 just fucking, I might as well be talking to a preschooler at that point. It's just, but that's the thing. The thought leaders on the conservative side, they've basically said that all these entities on the left are corrupt, and it's like, yeah, maybe so, but then on the right, they're all good. There's nothing wrong there, and it's like, well, then you're just retardedly partisan.
Wow, I'm reading more through this, and this is just amazing, right? They say peace is more than the absence of war.
Oh Jesus!
Is it?
that sounds really? Fucking. That sounds very eerie.
Yeah, exactly. I can't even imagine a definition of peace that isn't just the absence of war. But it cannot be based on fear, on ephemeral goodwill between the superpowers. The fundamental economic and social causes of international conflict must be abolished by the achievement of global justice and the creation of new institutions for the peaceful resolution of conflicts around the world. Okay, I'll stop you there, international socialists. The nation state is the cause of war.
Right.
And will always be and always has been. Unfortunately, the nation state is too useful a tool to get rid of.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, when you were talking earlier and you mentioned superpowers, stop you there. There's one.
Yeah.
There's one.
And thank fuck.
And the thing is, I'll go to any university outside of one that is run by fucking communists. I'll go to any university, find anyone in from political science or social sciences department, and I'll ask them, how many superpowers are there, and what is the polarity of the world we live in? They're going to say one superpower, unipolar world. Every single one on the face of this earth that is not fucking retarded is going to say that, because that is the facts as they are. There are other powers in this world. There's only one superpower. And it has been that case since the end of the Cold War. So I don't get when people talk about, oh, there's these different powers in the world. It's like, yeah, there are powers in the world. There's only one superpower, and that has a very distinct definition. I think it's a problem with people not understanding political definitions.
I agree with you. I mean, I think the international socialists don't understand political definitions. We're individuals committed to freedom of expression and freedom of association. Are you? Are you sure you're socialist?
I'm sure they are. They're just pushing a lot of bullshit.
Nah, they're anarchists. They're just not. Just not living to their principles. They just. I mean, like if they want peace to be an absence of war, it has to be the absence of the potential for war, which must mean the absence of the nation state.
Yes, definitely. Well, the thing is that one of the things I can't stand about all of this, like especially with the anarchist shit, is like, you know, there are progressives that see corporatism as a real issue. Like even Jimmy Dore, Kyle Kulinski, there's a bunch of even,
for himself,
fucking Cenk Uygur, they'll all say that corporatism is a real issue and is a real issue that is threatening, the United States, our politics. And it's like, okay, then you're making an issue that our sovereignty is at stake. That's the argument you're making, because that's true. That is what's at stake. That's what the corporations want to eliminate, is our sovereignty. Because once that goes, they run it.
Oh, absolutely. And just what's really amusing about this is the point number 32. The establishment of a new international economic and political order is an essential contribution to peace. This should involve respect for national sovereignty. You're international socialists. How can you say you want who are devoted to peace without ever the prospect of war?
Again, this is what I mean about just throwing it all out there. That's what I mean about throwing it all out there. That's what tells me this is propaganda.
Oh no, it's I've been thinking about this a lot, right? I think people forget that they. How did I come to this? So basically, I think it was the Objectivists actually, and it was reading Leonard Peikoff's The Ominous Parallels, and then talking to a few Objectivists, and it's interesting how people are effectively cucks for morality systems that aren't their own. Because like most political positions have some truth to them, there is some or some moral standing or something about them that is good, and this is why it's eminently frustrating to hear Theresa May promote feminism. It's like, Theresa, you're a conservative. Feminism didn't get you to the prime ministership. You're not in favor of like arbitrary forced equality.
It's so like the party of Margaret Thatcher promotes feminism. It's like,
yes, exactly. Margaret Thatcher was one of the most just scathing opponents of socialism of any form. And yet here's Theresa May completely cucking for it. And I've got conservative friends, and they're furious. They fucking hate it, and I totally see why. And it's because she doesn't understand her own principles. You can't advocate for that, Theresa. Advocating for that is you admitting they're right.
Yeah,
and it's just
absolutely.
Well, they're not right, are they? Are they socialist? Theresa May, the Conservative Prime Minister. What are you're going to get yourself ousted from your own party, you lunatic. And that's what these people are doing here. We're international socialists, but by the way, we want to respect the sovereignty of the nation state. They're not socialists, or at least international ones. You could be national socialists, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. It's like you said earlier that Europe has a certain problem with socialism, and I have to say that I agree.
Fucking riddled.
It very much appears to have a problem where even like the so-called, like, I don't even know if they call Theresa May like a Nazi or anything, but it's like
no, you can't just go around calling people Nazis unless they're part of Britain First.
Well, that's what I mean, is that, like, I don't know how ridiculous it is in your politics, but in the United States, it is really bad right now.
Racist is really easy. I mean,
Oh,
anyone
okay.
can get called a racist, but Nazi is gosh, you've lost the argument when you start calling people a Nazi.
Not in this country. It's a
Oh
fucking
no,
arg. If you're in the press,
Dan,
man, it's a winner.
yeah, Dan Harmon, fucking 30% of the country are Nazis. You're a fucking idiot, Dan. You're just
Yeah.
You mean 30% of Republicans, the people who oppose Nazis? That's what you mean, isn't it?
Yeah. The thing is that you got to, especially when it comes to conservatives, which there's a decent separation of politics in the military. Like people have different beliefs there. But the thing is that it does lean conservative, as you can imagine, whether it's officers or, grunts. I really think that it's pretty inappropriate and pretty counterproductive to just label just conservatives generally as Nazis, or say that they have Nazi sympathies, when it's just like, you're not the patriotic group. They are. So what the fuck are you doing?
The Republicans, as far as I can tell, are basically just constitutionalists.
Well, I would say maybe on the ground, there's a split. I would say
in principle, I mean, obviously the Christians and whatnot, the evangelicals, and you've got various factions, but ultimately, I don't think any of the Republicans would ever turn around and say the Constitution needs to
go. Only in the condition, I would say, that they could they think politically they could get away with passing something like the Trans-Pacific Partnership. I think that the secret rot in the Republican Party is corporatism.
Undoubtedly.
And I think it's with the Democrats, it's fucking obvious.
Yeah, but what I mean is, when they're standing up and they're making arguments, they have to make arguments from principle. Yes. And the principles seem to be founded on the Constitution.
Yes. The only time that I would say it isn't is usually when it starts getting into the territory of religion and a handful of other issues.
Yeah.
That's when they start going off the Constitution.
Yeah, the Republicans really need to understand that your country was not founded as a Christian nation. It was a secular republic.
There are Christian traditions, there are cultural values, there are shared community values, blah 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 blah. But the thing is that they have this autistic hang up on one of two things, and that's that this was a Christian nation, period. That's how we were founded. It is enshrined in the Constitution, despite obvious evidence to the contrary. And I always say they could have made us a theocracy. They chose to do the exact opposite.
One secular nation on earth.
First secular republic on the face of the earth. They chose to do it. That's what they. They came together to make that nation. Yeah. That was the consensus.
It is literally the embodiment of Enlightenment ideals. It's and this is the thing though, like. The Republicans, at least they have a coherent set of principles that they're not going to abandon. Like a Nazi would look at the American Constitution and go, no.
Yeah.
There is no way they would consent to the American Constitution. It would be counter to almost everything they believe. And it's the same with the communists, which is why the Democrats, so many of the fucking far left in your country, say, I think the Constitution's an outdated document. Motherfucker, it's a timeless document.
Yeah.
That is a document that would serve any country very well for hundreds of years as a republic.
Yeah, I think that you're definitely right about that. But I was going to say that the other autistic hang-up that the right has generally is the fact that this country, despite being very religious, is increasingly becoming irreligious. And they seem to be in total denial of that fact. There was a poll that came out by, I believe it was Pew, a couple months ago, and it said that there's been a continuous decline in religious sentiment within the United States, and it's been on a trajectory that's consistent. So the idea isn't, though, it's an atheist nation, but it's like you have to then concede that there's a reason why this is happening. So when you come to me and say Jesus is the answer to all of our problems, it's like, if that was the solution, why is it failing? Why are people becoming more and more irreligious? If religion is the answer to everything, if this is such a divine, perfect solution to everything, why are people in mass turning away from it continuously? So I think that unfortunately with the religious right and with religious people generally in the United States, politics and power is moving away from them, and they seem to be in total denial of that. And they just want to point their finger at me about whatever. When it's like, bro, I don't choose whether somebody believes something or doesn't. That's not on me. I'm an atheist, and I can say, oh, well, I think being an atheist is the right position. But it's like, I'm not going out there, in front of with a microphone or a megaphone in hand, and I'm not on the pulpit screaming at the top of my lungs. It's like, it's just happening, bro. And you need to address that fact.
Yeah, basically what you need is a Pastor Manning in every church. Do you know who he is?
Describe him.
Oh my god, he is the fucking wokest black preacher I've ever seen.
Oh, he's the guy that you sent on Skype the other day. The nigger guy, the guy that says nigger a lot. Yeah.
The guy
Niggers can't build cities.
The guy who literally explains the problem with niggerism.
Yeah. that guy's pretty fucking far out there, dude, man.
I'm gonna use a bunch of his clips in the live show at some point.
Okay, yeah.
It's gonna bring the house down. It's the funniest.
I would say that, like, I don't want people to get the wrong idea, but he is, like, sadly honest. Sadly honest.
Right. He's fucking right. That's the thing. And I love it. He goes, just prove me wrong. And it's like, yeah, well, they can't, because what you're saying is, like, if you act in a certain way, then you'll get a certain, reaction.
Right. What his general argument is that black culture in the United States is not productive.
And he's correct.
And yeah, I would say that generally he is correct. That there are positive aspects, I think, to black culture in America. But I would say that the negative end really outweighs the positive end. And I think that doesn't mean that we have to have some sort of cultural extermination. It just means that, let's be real about this, that there are some serious problems in
what you're saying culture. What you're saying is keep the twerking big booty bitches, but leave the rest of it.
No, I understand the joke, but I'm actually, like, the licentiousness that exists in black culture, I'm not really much of a fan of, because it's like
licentiousness.
Because it's classless. Yeah. And it's like, I'm not against, like, pornography or anything else by any stretch of the imagination, but it's like, it's so classless. Especially in, like, mainstream, like, pop culture, like music videos and all that thing. It has been for a very long time. Like, for example, I don't really want to go down the fucking rabbit hole of this, but it's like old school black culture of, like, hip hop culture. That was actually really cool, and it was very positive. So there are aspects of black culture that used to be at some point positive and actually, like, preached good ideas, but at some point things just that's the thing. Gangster culture took over, and it just ran everything off the fucking rails.
Yeah, that's the problem, man. It's such a culture of weakness and insecurity, masquerading as manliness. It's just
definitely,
anyone who goes around saying how fucking great they are is someone who is not great. Greatness is demonstrated by your actions.
Well, they could be great to some aspect, but they're also very insecure.
Yeah, massively insecure. You don't need to do any of that if you're actually great.
Yeah. How often do you see, like, Jeff Bezos going around talking about how, like, oh man, I got the biggest dick in the world, blah 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 blah? It's like, no,
Jeff Bezos is.
He's the guy that runs Amazon.
Oh, right, okay.
And he's I've seen people say, like, especially the guy from Gab, he loves him, because he calls him, like, a Chad tech guy or whatever. Unlike Zuckerberg, who he calls the
the virgin fucking
the
virgin tech.
Anyways, let's move on. So let's cover this. For whatever reason, there's a lot of people on the right that really, really, really dislike this guy named H.R. McMaster, who is a part of Trump's administration. Right. And he is he's a national security advisor. And I'm trying to remember. I think he actually has an actual. Go ahead.
So, why is he calling Islamic terrorism irreligious?
So let's get into this. Now, I think what this is, and I can't say for certain because I don't really know that much about this guy. I think this is a holdover of, honestly, the George W. Bush style of, Islam is a religion of peace. I think this was accepted from a certain strain of the right, and it's. I'm trying to think of the right word to use it. It's just something that's like like an ideological truth that, like, you can't question. I mean, there's a word for that, but
an orthodoxy, a dogma.
A dogma, maybe. I think there's a different word that I'm searching for, but maybe that's where it comes from. I'm not sure because I haven't really heard of this guy outside of when Trump was elected. That's when he became a big deal to many people on the right. So we're going to quickly go through this article from Breitbart. And Breitbart really fucking hates this guy. Really.
Breitbart, or at least woke on Islam.
Yeah. So H.R. McMaster, President Trump's embattled national security advisor, has once again minimized the religious motivations of terrorist groups, this time referring to the ideology of Middle East jihadists as irreligious. See, before we continue on, the thing that I really don't like about that, other than one, it's not true, is two, you're also then making people who are irreligious somehow tacitly connected to terrorist groups. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, there are a bunch of ex-Muslims who are about to join ISIS.
Exactly. Like, and and the thing is that even if you want to say this is like, you know, my inner leftist coming out, it's like you're demonizing a fucking a minority in the United States. Irreligious people are the minority, especially atheists. 3% of the population. You're connecting us tacitly to terror groups when the fact is that guess what? They're all fucking Muslim. That's the truth. So fuck you, bro. And I'm sure that, you know, Breitbart isn't going to really be concerned about that perspective. But the thing is that they are right in that is the opposite of what the truth is. That these are religious fanatical groups. They are religious groups. That is the truth. So let's continue on.
The idea of an irreligious jihadi is really
I know, that's
funny.
fucking retarded.
Yeah. The whole point is to make it into heaven.
That's
actually,
why you become a jihadi. In Iraq, I think there actually were more secular people in Al-Qaeda, but they were like the deposed party or the deposed members of the previous regime.
No. It's because the US basically disbanded the Iraqi military.
Right.
And so you had all these soldiers and policemen and stuff like this who had nowhere to go. And yeah, a bunch of them did end up joining the jihadists. But the thing is, like, it's one thing saying we're a secular government. It's another thing actually looking at the individuals who may themselves be religious.
Yeah, and say we want Islamic State.
Yeah.
Anyways, in a BBC radio interview posted online on Wednesday, McMaster was asked about the United States fight to rid the region of the Islamic State. So he's talking about the Islamic State.
Yeah.
After calling out Iran for interacting with Salafi jihadist groups, McMaster continued, and so what it has to happen is a removal of these drivers of conflict. And that means defeating these jihadist terrorist organizations so that they can't come back. Well, how the fuck do we do that? We need to defeat them so it can never come back. Oh, okay, are you going to like format their minds? Is that how we're going to eliminate the idea?
That's really interesting because Adolf Hitler actually covered this in Mein Kampf. I just read past this bit, but he was examining the idea of just eradicating an ideology, and basically was like, yeah, we're gonna have to genocide people to do this.
Exactly.
And to be fair, that is what he did try.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, like,
is that what H.R. McMaster is actually proposing here? He might be. Yeah. He's a fucking neocon. He might be. That means denying them control of territory, populations, resources, drying up their financing. Good. Don't talk about Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia's a good boy. Didn't do nothing.
Yeah, exactly. But then also defeating their wicked ideology to expose their ideology as irreligious and illegitimate. And then it also involves addressing Iran's disabling behavior in the region. Okay, so first, really quick, there's Shia Islam, and what's the other one? What's
Sunni?
Sunni. Okay, so there's Sunni and Shia. Okay, Iran is Shia, and these terrorists are Sunni. Why can't the fucking BBC guy, and maybe he did, although I doubt it, why can't he go, what the fuck are you talking about Iran for? That's Shia Islam. Yeah. So you're telling me that the Shia are teaming up with the Sunni for terrorism? Is that what you're telling me, H.R. McMaster?
No, that can't possibly be the case. I mean, that would be like saying the communists have teamed up with the fascists.
Right.
You know, they can't.
Exactly. Know? So... But this is the thing. This is what I've heard. And maybe he's not a neocon. Maybe I'm wrong. It just very much strikes me as a neocon. Because this is the kind of shit that they said back when Bush was fucking president. I'm not sure how much we want to continue on, but yeah, it just
Well,
goes on to say like.
Did you see Trudeau's magnificent statement? The returning ISIS fighters will be an extraordinarily powerful voice for Canada.
Oh yeah, yeah. Jeez.
God, if you let your enemy fuck your wife, they win. You win.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't you, Justin? It's just
that's the Justin Trudeau Canada. I've had a bunch of people that are Canadian come to me and say like, you know, I'm afraid.
He is the product of rampant cuckery, though, so I shouldn't be too surprised.
Oh man,
Pierre
Canada.
Trudeau's wife's son.
Yeah, Canada is sinking fast. You guys, you need to find somebody that's a conservative that isn't a total fucking loser, because that's been their real problem. Is that their conservative party is like fucking toothless. Like they just spin their wheels anymore. Yeah, really, absolutely. Empty consumerism. That's what I think. That there's a lot there's a lot of conservative thought leaders that is pretty much their only operating ideology is capitalism is good, consumerism is good, go out and buy. Like that's it.
Just to be clear about Trudeau's rampant cuckery, he thinks that there are about 60 or so individuals coming back from ISIS, which I am honestly at a loss to understand why you would allow one of them back in.
Yeah, seriously.
No, you defected to a jihadi terror state. You can stay there. But it's been destroyed. Not my fucking problem.
Well, my thing would be, okay, come on back, and we're going to prosecute you, and you're going to be remanded into prison. You're not leaving prison.
Come on back. Go to The Hague, you know? Get your little cup of poison ready, because you're going to be prosecuted as a war criminal. You know?
Yeah, seriously. Absolutely.
I would have so fucking little sympathy for anyone who does this. Yeah, but I thought I'd get into heaven. Oh, so you were doing it just out of pure self-interest then? You know? Yeah. You were murdering people because you thought it'd get you into heaven, and it fucking failed. Well, I'm sorry. You know?
Yeah, I can't imagine the insanity someone must have, like the gymnastics that they have to be going through to legitimize the idea that bringing in bona fide fucking terrorists,
ISIS
people
veterans.
that are terrorists, are terrorists.
Yes, veteran ISIS
bringing them into your country when already the problem is not knowing who is and is not a terrorist.
That's the fucking go to the mosques and do nothing wrong though, Louis.
Jesus, it's just. I mean, that's the thing. Is that like this is the thing that like. You know, I don't consider myself to be on the right, but this is the thing. Like, I think this is part of the Overton window that needs to be dragged into the position where we need to just accept the fact that Islam has a problem with fucking terrorism. Muslims aren't in the position to fucking do anything about it, so we have to. And there's very few solutions to this issue.
Well, I mean, I definitely think, I mean, if someone becomes a jihadi, they should be treated like like someone who's trying to subvert the state. You know,
absolutely. The thing is that I don't understand why, like, I do understand why, but it's like, you know, it just get me on a television show and let me debate this issue. It's like, you know, if we had a whole group of Timothy McVeighs out there ready to come back in this country, you're telling me we should just let them in? You know, I want you to legitimately, and I'm not saying to you, I just mean, you know,
I know.
To this person who would be arguing that, just explain to me why we need to let Timothy McVeigh into our country and roam free through it. Just explain this to me. And just let them go. Let it go. Just let them try to explain it. Because there is no justification.
This is the thing, like, the point of democracy is to prevent political violence.
Yes.
That's the point of it. I mean, you know, everyone has a vote. So every individual who has suffrage, which is everyone in the country, every adult, obviously, everyone has a fraction of the shared power over the decisions of the state.
Right.
And that's how it should be. You know, your vote is power over the state. And you use that collectively with all the other voters to end up determining what policies the state should pursue. The reason for it is to prevent violence. There
Yes.
is no, I mean, it totally delegitimizes any kind of violence. So if some rampant jihadi comes along and goes, you know what we need, an Islamic State, I'm going to blow people up until we get it, and I'm going to go to heaven for doing this. So you may as well do it. And it's not just me, it's everyone else as well. You know, there are going to be more of them. So you may as well just do it, and then we won't have to blow ourselves up. That's treason.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that I can't, like, the thing is though is that like this is a conversation that's going on in the media and in politics where there is no other side. Like there is no other side to this saying like, listen, you people are out of your minds to even be like considering this to be a legitimate idea. And the thing is, this is one of my big faults with the right is that when push comes to shove, when the time is now for them to show up and make the argument, they fall on their face every fucking time. It's so rare that I've heard a conservative talk about Islam that isn't like alt media. You know what I mean? Like there are conservatives that know how to do this, but it's like, yeah, go ahead.
I'm just thinking about like if I could get on TV and just talk to any single politician about Islam, I would fucking thrash them.
Yeah. Dude, I could say I could do it. I could do it on Islam.
Oh, yeah, I bet you could, man. I bet you could. You know, almost anyone could, especially when it comes to like Islam's treatment of democracy. And then it's not even like Islam, it's Islamists. And I know there are a lot of people who think that they're one and the same, but that's not necessarily true, actually. There are lots of Muslims who are Muslim in faith and not in politics, you know. And that's
right. And but that's the thing is that the issue is in Islam, and I think that this is the thing that you do see every now and then articulated, that there is an obvious distinction between the two. But the problem is that there are too many Muslims, specifically Muslims, that do actually believe in both.
Yeah. And it comes from specific schools of thought as well. I mean, we know the schools of thought, like it's the Deobandis and the Wahhabis.
Yes.
They produce the terrorists.
But you know why? You know why they don't want to talk about that? It's because the Saudis have too much involvement in our politics.
And in Britain, it's the Pakistanis, mate. The Deobandis, the Pakistani version that produce the Taliban. 46% of our mosques are Deobandi mosques. And it's like, fuck.
I got an article coming up. I don't know if
you carry on, man. Sorry.
All right, so let's jump over that. No, not that one.
That's a good title there.
So Trump today went on to Twitter, and this was in the morning, and he actually said that, and he said a few things.
I love fucking Trump so much.
One of the big problems is Pakistan. And I was like, holy shit, dude. That if you want to talk about radical departure in what has been our fucking politics for decades, has been just trying to pay the Pakistanis to not fucking go insane. That has been what we've been doing.
Okay, so that's I'm really glad you mentioned that, but you were exactly right. There are loads of people who are pissed off that we give Britain gives Pakistan £15 million in aid every year. Everyone's like, why are we giving Pakistan aid money? It's like, we're not giving them aid money. We are buying friends.
Yes,
you have to understand.
It's pure bribery. That's all it is. Pakistan is barely a government.
All international aid is buying friends, to be honest.
Yes. Yeah, it's giving money to other countries in order for them to then use it for their own revenue.
Oh God, look at this tweet. The United States has foolishly given Pakistan more than $33 billion in aid over the last 15 years, and they have given us nothing but lies and deceit, thinking of our leaders as fools. They give safe haven to terrorists we hunt in Afghanistan with little help, no more. Holy shit. I salute you, Mr. Trump. That is so on the fucking money.
That it is I'm going to say this.
Where was it? You know,
that is a radical departure from the establishment position on Pakistan. That is a radical departure.
Oh, but he's just the establishment. He's just part of the 1%. He's just part of the big crew. No, he's not. No, he's fucking not. He's a lunatic compared to them.
I can't begin to tell you. When I read that, I retweeted it the second I saw it because I was like, wow.
Fuck.
Because and here's the thing, even if in the case that Trump does nothing and just continues the status quo, he now he's moved the Overton window. Yeah. So now you can just talk about Pakistan. You can now talk about Pakistan because the president of the United States introduced the topic and gave a dissenting view. Now you can talk about it. So I think that was something he has done. And that to me, when people talk about his social media, it's like, no, his presence on social media is a good thing. For all the dumb shit that he puts out every now and then, it's like, this is powerful stuff.
Yeah.
This is shifting the country radically. And this is something that needs to be addressed.
Oh, yeah, dude, I'm telling you, right? Like, the Trump's Twitter feed is one of the most powerful forces in all of the world right now.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, I love the way, like, who is it? That fucking Wolf guy on CNN. I put it in This Year in Stupid when he was just literally saying, what's the fucking little fat bald guy on CNN? What's his name?
The fat bald guy? I'm not too sure.
A fat bald guy on.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know, he corporate shill number 27, right?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
And he's literally saying to him, you know, Trump is kicking your ass with his Twitter feed, and you look fucking ridiculous. And this guy's like, what? You know, it's like, yeah, no. You are. Trump is fucking beasting you on Twitter, and it's amazing.
Yeah. I can say that still, like, I put out the promise, and I'm still going to hold to it, that if he cucks on trade, I am going to start to criticize him, and I'm going to probably do some videos on him criticizing him. Sure. But the thing is that, you know, outside of that, looking at this by itself, this is something that he's right on, and he's actually been right on Iran more so than the mainstream media. You know, it's amazing to see, like, and then, again, like, this is. Like, what's good about this, in my opinion, is that this is breaking away from neocon foreign policy. This is a break away from neocon foreign policy, and I guarantee you, the George W. Bushes, the Bush Cheney, the Dick Cheneys, all the rest, they hate this. They absolutely hate this. They don't want anyone talking about Pakistan. They want us to keep paying them billions of dollars to just not do anything. You know, it's bribery money because they have nukes. When I think that we need to start leveraging our power against them to get their nukes.
Holy fuck! Have you seen the replies to that tweet?
I don't want to see them.
Right, there's a Pakistani guy who's like, "What the U.S. contributed to fight the war on terror? Pakistan contributed more than the U.S., i.e., $120 billion and 70,000 lives. Come with facts, not fictions." So where was Bin Laden?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. Is that those 70,000 guys were protecting fucking Bin Laden. Probably.
He was in a Abbottabad. I don't know how it's pronounced. But yeah, he was fucking next to your military bases, you useless cucks.
Yeah, he was being protected by their government. I don't think there's much doubt about that.
I am certain of it.
So yeah, that's the thing, is that, like, Pakistan, when that happened, that's when I knew that the money we were giving them is purely one-sided. This is standard, like, CIA kind of competence. We are giving money to an enemy state.
Right. Let's be clear just how unbelievably Islamist Pakistan is.
Oh, dude, they're insane. They're one of the absolute fucking worst. They make Saudi Arabia look fucking progressive.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia is the only state I can think of that is more Islamist than Pakistan. Just whack that fucking article up quickly by putting the side chat.
Oh, yeah,
unbelievable. Okay. Unbelievable, right?
Well, they like fuck their cousins and kill kids.
Yeah, no,
rape
fuck
kids.
That. Dude, fucking cousins and killing kids and having gang rapes and stuff like this. That's small fry, right? 100,000 people turned up for the funeral of this guy called Mumtaz Qadri, who was hanged for killing a man named Salman Taseer because Salman Taseer was in opposition to blasphemy laws. The murderer of a secularist, the guy who killed the secularist, had 100,000 people turn up for his fucking funeral. That's how unbelievably Islamo-fascist Pakistan is.
A lot of women in this picture.
String of the faith as well.
Oh my god.
Dude, Pakistan is fucking nuts.
Yeah. All right, I guess we should move on before this video gets complete. It's already demonetized, but I don't know if we want to get it taken down. We'll go on to Iran really quick, just because I mentioned it. Yeah. So right now there's a whole lot of protests going on, and I think, as far as I know, they're still going on today in in Iran, and I actually believe that they're near the location for the Ayatollah. That's where they're actually happening. It's right near there.
Actually, I'm going to be honest. I'm just shitposting in the chat, but I haven't actually been following the Iranian protests very closely. I'm waiting to find out what happens.
Well, supposedly either yesterday or overnight or whatever, there were a whole bunch of people that got shot and killed. So the violence has broken out in a small way.
Right.
But my thing is that, like, you know, if there's any time for the CIA to start giving some armaments and some money and doing all the things that they do to the jihadists, it's like, give it to the protesters. Give it to the protesters. If you overthrow the government, we win. We win if you overthrow the government. CIA, now is the time.
You literally have a bunch of anti-theocratic demonstrators and protesters who are being killed in the streets now. So far, there have been... Sorry, I'm just finding the death toll. 12 people dead against the Islamic Republic of Iran, or a nation of Iran. And it's like, yeah, okay, now what you need to do is just start pumping out fucking propaganda in Farsi. Just dump it in their fucking country. Dump it on their social media feed with bots. You know, promote Western liberalism. Promote, like, a better standard of living. Promote fucking rights.
Yeah.
These people want it, you know. And then it fucking drives me crazy how you have a bunch of feminists in the West donning hijabs at women's marches. It's like, you are fucking joking.
Yeah. What they should be doing is talking about, like, you know, you'll live a good life, a free life. You'll have a good job. You'll have a better job. You'll have better stability. You could do what you want. You could wear what you want. You could drink alcohol. You can party. You know, you could do what you want, and you can set your own laws, and you don't have to, you know, it's just pump all that shit out. And I think that, especially with it appears to be a very young sort of protest, and it's like, you know, just like there's so much potential here to propagandize.
Very liberal, very.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like, there's so much room here to propagandize to them, to say, like, you know, comfort and freedom is just around the corner. Just pull that fucking trigger, baby.
Well, don't go crazy, but yeah, definitely get rid of them.
Oh, whatever. I mean, it's up to them what the means are. I'm just focused on the end.
A demonstrator opened fire on police with a hunting rifle, killing one and wounding 3 others, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah. It's fucking serious, man. But, I mean, if they can get rid of their Islamic dictatorship, then they're golden.
Oh, well, that's the thing. If the Ayatollah steps down, oh, man. Oh, because he's, like, fucking, like, 100 years old or some shit. It's like...
Mitch in the chat's just like, Hitchens predicted this youth rebellion years ago. Yeah, he's right. He did. He absolutely did. Now he's coming to fruition.
You know what's funny is and I'm going to mention this, but we're going to move on because we've been spending too much time in this, is that this is the thing about the neocons, is that the neocons forever, and still to this day, you still see neocons in television saying that we need to go in, we need to invade Iran, we need to go into Iran, Iran's a threat, Iran, we need to go in, attack, we need to attack, we need to use force, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you guys were all fucking wrong. You're all full of shit. You're so stupid. You know, and I'm just going to say this about the conservative movement. Like, you guys have a serious problem. You guys are all cucks for Saudi Arabia. Fuck off. You know, go suck some Wahhabi dick for their money. Go free speech their cocks. You know, you neocons were wrong. Conservatives were fucking wrong on foreign policy.
And the thing is, it's because they didn't understand the people they were talking about. Here's an article from Time. You know, young people are not interested in the Revolutionary Republic. You know, and there was a bunch of stuff where they were like very pro-American. You know, they want to wear jeans. They want to fucking
selfie.
Yeah, they want to take selfies and stuff like that. You know, they want Western modernity, and I don't blame them. You know, it comes with a whole host of problems.
We'll sell it to them, baby. We're ready.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, believe me, we've got the fucking goods.
Yep. Well, it doesn't matter. Like, what we need to do is just we need to bomb them with advertisements. That's what we need to do. Just like the bomb explode and all these different ads for alcohol companies and H&M and Brooks Brothers and all this different shit comes out, and they're like, "Hey, look at this!" And it's like, we got them now.
But by the way, beware of feminism.
Oh, that's the thing, is that people are talking. They're like, "Oh man, this is I've seen a bunch of conservatives like praising feminism, and it's like, okay, that's the I don't care whether it's Iran or not. They don't need feminism. They need liberalism.
Yes,
free everyone.
Exactly
free everyone.
Yeah, that is exactly how I feel. And the thing is, like, you like, here, like, this is really fucking heartwarming to me. You know, this sort of, like, can you get that link up?
Sure.
You know, because it's not like Muslims that I have a problem with. You know, it's the Islamists. And if you've got a bunch of people who are Muslim in name only, effectively, then that's fine. You know, you can keep your fucking religion, just don't go around bombing people. Fuck me.
Right.
And the Iranians, I'm sure the Iranian youth have got very little interest in being jihadis. So, but yeah, this could be Iran actually moving into the modern era, which is great.
Yeah, because one of the things is that if they actually do become, you know, if they stop being a theocracy, what that does is that it basically also disempowers the Saudis from using us as a weapon.
Yeah. So can I just address Anonymous in the chat? It's not the Muslims, it's the Islamists. What the fuck is reality? Dude, there are loads of different strands of Islam, loads of different philosophies from it. I mean, like, you don't find Sufi terrorists, you know? I mean, as far as I'm aware, the fucking Shia terrorists are mostly political. They use Shia as an identity, but they're not actually fighting, like, necessarily the sort of religious war that the Sunnis are. It's fucking complicated stuff. But the thing is, there's no exterminating Islam. That's an unfortunate reality we just have to fucking live with. You are not just going to get rid of it. Ban Islam. You can't do that. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. The only distinction that I would make would be, and I think we already agree on this, is, and I say this for my national policy, would be that when it comes to immigration, as close to zero as possible. That's just my belief on what it should be.
Well, this is the thing. You're completely free to not allow people into your country. Like, no one has a right to come to your country. If you say, I just don't want Frank over there to come to the country, then okay, Frank can't come. It's your choice.
I think in this country we need to get very serious about immigration, and there just seems to be this unwillingness to even address the fact that we have some very big problems in this country, and they're starting to get a little bit out of control. Because even today, you know, people on Twitter, like people talking about a story, it's like there's this debate of whether, you know, like somebody's put up like, oh, if you're not a legal citizen, make sure you don't get caught smoking weed because you'll be unjustly punished and deported. It's just like you shouldn't fucking be here. Like like you're telling me, oh, it's going to be unjust that we arrest you for smoking weed because blah blah blah. It's like, no, okay, legalize weed, deport the fucking illegal.
Yeah, this is something. Man, I saw an article the other day from a far leftist, obviously, and they were literally, oh, he hadn't committed any crime. This illegal immigrant was sent back. Excuse me, wake up. The illegal immigrant part is the fucking crime, you dipshits.
The thing that I really don't like about the situation with illegals is that that there is this thing about, and I haven't even seen Tucker Carlson talk about this, but he's been one of the main people talking about the issue of national sovereignty, talking about the issue of citizenship now being called into question, like all the issues with immigration. And the thing that he has yet to bring up is one of the things that irritates me more than anything is that there's a few examples of this, but the one that I couldn't stand was this fat South Korean guy, like this South Korean guy that they got in like California. So they got him, they deported him. So they talked to him and he goes, you know, I've been living in the country for like 40 years and this is wrong that they deported me. And it's like, you fucking cocksucker. You just admitted you never tried in 40 fucking years to become a legal citizen. You didn't try for 40 years to become because you would have said that. You would have said something about the fact I tried, I failed, I did as much as I couldn't do it. He didn't even say that. He didn't bother to say that because he knows he didn't try. He just sat here illegally, didn't pay taxes, lived a good life, and guess what? Now he's back in South Korea. It's like,
I'm sorry, I've got no fucking sympathy. I would never move to another country illegally.
Yes, I
would
couldn't.
never
I
do that.
couldn't imagine going to going to the UK, going to any country, and saying to myself, the second I step my foot into that country, which is not my own, I'm going to immediately break the law and hide from law enforcement officers.
Yeah,
That's
no.
the first fucking. That shows you total willingness to adapt to in a society and be a productive person. Is to break the laws the second you put your foot on the ground.
Yeah,
It's
and
such a ridiculous argument.
it's totally disrespectful. And the thing is,
Yes.
if you're coming from like a third world hellhole, I can understand. You know, I can actually
Right. Like
legitimately
that's
say,
the thing is that like I can understand if you're somebody that's trying to get in because you know like the distinction from our country for your compared to your country is so ridiculously different that that's the
yeah.
reason why you're coming. Like
But
I
when you're
get
coming
it.
from South Korea,
Right, exactly. You're coming from an advanced economy
well,
or a completely developed economy. You know, it's so ridiculous to me that you're going to somehow say to me that you're a fucking victim when you took advantage of our country for decades.
Basinski
It's
says the fat
ridiculous.
Korean was dealing with fat positivity. But no,
It's
I totally agree. National and citizenship, national borders, sovereignty, all that sort of stuff. It's a fucking privilege that we need to guard jealously.
yeah,
People can earn it. I'm happy for people to earn it, but they have to
absolutely.
fucking earn it.
And
You know?
I've said this before, and I think that I guess it bears repeating that I'm more than willing to look for the best and the brightest in the world and headhunt them and bring them into this country because it strengthens the country overall. I think anyone can agree with that. But the issue is that you have to admit. Yeah, go ahead.
There's the argument that it causes brain drain in other
Well,
countries, which
I don't give a shit about the other countries. Fuck them.
No. The thing is, right? It's not an illegitimate thing to say. It does, and it literally is whether you care or not. And there's no particular reason that one nation should care that another nation's being brain drained. That's not their problem, But that is something that is true.
Yes, I don't deny that, and I've even heard videos by V where he's talked about that.
Yeah, and it's right, And
Yeah, he's not
it
wrong.
would be better for the other countries not to accept anyone, and it'd probably be even better for your country because it would be better if, oh God, we're having a shortage of doctors. Okay, well then, why don't you just have like a government subsidy for anyone who wants to join a medical school? Actually train your own population up. Think for long-term solution to your own problems rather than just short-term pinching people from other locations around the world.
My thing about like headhunting would be typically around technology based in medicine, military, any of those things, like people developing advanced technologies in those fields in different countries, looking for them, headhunting them and trying to get them here so that they develop those technologies for us.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not against nation states being competitive and offering competitive.
No, I know what you're saying. I'm just elaborating on what exactly I mean. And I'm not looking to take doctors out of Romania so that Romania suffers. I'm looking for like the cream of the fucking crop that are advancing nations that I want here because I don't want foreign nations to be developing things that could otherwise benefit this nation.
No, I agree.
I was gonna say something else, but forget it. Let's move on. Maybe we'll come back to the Chinese one.
I tell you what, man. I was watching Yuri Bezmenov earlier, and I love the like analysis of ideology. That I find that fascinating, and like the understanding of how the Soviets were trying to subvert the West. And the way he was saying it was fabulous. He was like, look, a country can only be ideologically subverted if it is open to being ideologically subverted. And he gives the example of, like, when the Japanese, they wouldn't open up their country for a reason. They protect themselves. The Soviet Union couldn't be ideologically subverted because the borders were closed, the population was controlled by the KGB and the secret police, and the government had a monopoly on propaganda. There was no way to subvert the Soviet Union.
Yes.
But the American system, totally
the Iron
open.
Curtain.
Yeah, exactly. But America, the West, totally open for subversion.
Absolutely.
And this is like the idea of, like, I was thinking about this, like, and I'll probably write like a big thing about this at some point, because it's like I hear the word equality and I'm just sat here thinking, right, what is it there? Why would anyone respond favorably to this? And I think people's natural thought is rights, human rights. They think we should be equals, and that's not the right term to use, because it's not equal, right? We're not the equals of Iran, for example.
Yeah.
We have a system of rights in our country that apply to all of the citizens. Iran doesn't. So you
Yes.
can't sit there and talk about equality. What you mean is privilege. You have national citizen privilege. You have the privilege of being able to vote. You have the privilege of doing that. And you pay for these privileges with your fucking taxes and caps, you dipshits, right? And so what we're actually talking about is not a system of rights per se. What we're talking about is a universal peerage. That's what we mean when we mean equality.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah, I think that unfortunately, like, the language games have really harmed the ability for people to think clearly about what's actually being argued.
And that's exactly what Bezmenov is talking about. He's like, when he's equality is a communist concept. The idea a liberal would ever say, I want equality, is weird. Liberals are for inequality because inequality is a good thing.
What is it? The natural consequence of freedom, inequality.
Yes, inequality. Yeah, like and like, so for example, what a liberal might say is they're against poverty, and that's true. Liberals are very against poverty, which is why they promote capitalism, which is why it's effectively eradicating poverty worldwide. Liberals are fucking fantastic about eradicating poverty. There is no ideology in all of human history that has created wealth like liberalism.
Yeah, absolutely.
Equality. No, fuck you. Fuck you. No, this is exactly what Hayek's talking about when it's like he wants the competitive society. Damn right. A competitive society is a rich society where even the poorest people in society have fucking iPhones and heart problems because they're fat as fuck. That's the result. It's not that people are hungry. It's not they're poor. It's not they're dominated by their government. Don't get me wrong. Corporate power could, seem to be, could be reined in quite a bit, probably. But that's
there are really definitely consequences to liberalism. There are downsides to it, but the thing is that the upsides are so incredible that it's like you can't imagine that any other system should replace it.
Exactly, and it comes down to, okay, do you want third world problems or do you want first world problems?
Exactly.
I want first world problems. Thank you. I know.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing is that, like, I mean, people. I think that unfortunately that's a consequence of our level of convenience. Is that we are so fundamentally we're inside our own little bubble, even though it's like a nation. It's a Western bubble, really, where we're so incredibly free and wealthy, and we have so much access to everything all the time that we don't really realize that there are plenty of nations in this world where it's like, okay, how am I going to eat today?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Can I just address someone in the comments? They're like, they say National Socialism eradicated poverty. Fucking wrong.
The German economy failed at the end.
Yeah, well, not even that. Like the average German was not like gaining weight. National Socialism. You are reading Nazi propaganda.
Yeah,
if you
seriously.
National Socialism was a good economic system.
No, it fell, dude. The German economy completely fell. Like they started like basically having like you basically were forced to work by the end. Like you had no choice but to work.
Of course you were. I mean, they eradicated unemployment,
and they also enslaved people. By the way, so
that's how
great fucking system.
Yeah, but
they also forced fucking foreign soldiers into their own military.
Yeah, but that's by far the least of the problems. Like,
no, but what I'm just saying is that there's like this is like the least liberal system on the face of this earth, and it also failed. It's like why again? It's like the whole thing with Nazis. It's like you guys advocating that shit. It's just like
the Nazi economy.
You're just a communist. You're just a communist.
Yeah, the Nazi economy was so poor. Right? I read a book called Vampire Economy by a German communist who lived in Nazi Germany before the war broke out, and he could see a war was coming because it was essentially Nazi Germany was in a wartime economy from the advent of the Nazis taking over, and so all of the economy was centralized. All resource hoarding, all the warehouses, all that sort of stuff was controlled by the party. And if you wanted some sort of raw materials, you had to go to the resource centers, and that meant that you either waited. And you waited a fucking long time because you'd be charged for every month your goods were in their storage. And so, I mean, he was giving examples of like wool imports from England, where the amount of money it was the amount of time it took for the bureaucracy to process it required it to just sit in storage, and that cost you money. And so eventually, when you got your wool, that killed your profits. You didn't make any money. And this communist was arguing in the corner of the capitalists, saying the capitalists, the business class, were getting absolutely fucked. You know, like it was.
And that also, I would say, is not something that the Nazis were unaware of, because that was how they won, and that they knew that the capitalists in their own country were subversive to them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like also the party members, like every business would try to get a party member in it at the higher echelons, because they would be a contact with other people at the resource depots, at party headquarters, these sort of things. And so you would effectively it would effectively create a black market of bribery. And the Economist used he literally says the corruption was a liberating factor. It was, you could get business done if you were corrupt, and if you weren't corrupt, you just had to wait.
Yeah. I mean, anyone advising that that's going to be a better system is out of their fucking minds, because it's like we have like capitalism in this country, and we already have enough issues with corruption. So the idea that that's somehow going to be a better system is completely fucking ludicrous.
Yeah. I mean, like it was the same in fascist Italy as well. He gives the example.
Oh yeah. Fascist Italy was insanely corrupt, and I know that.
And like you would get like he gives the example, because he was, a lot of what he was doing was sourced from letters sent by German businessmen and Italian businessmen outside of the countries, because obviously all the media and all the stuff was regulated by the government.
Yeah,
you know, and so basically when they could actually tell the truth about what was happening to them, it was horrific. Like, this one guy was like, I need 6,000 tons of steel. And obviously this was in fascist Italy. And the bureau was like, well, we just don't happen to have it. And so he basically sends them, I don't know, a large sum of money. And lo and behold, 6,000 tons of steel just happens to have turned up that day. What a coincidence. Here you go. You can carry on manufacturing.
He free speech that steel.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, and like to hear the sort of alt-right types going, oh, the Nazi economy. No, you don't know what you're talking about. You haven't read into it.
Yeah, it's whatever. I think that it's pretty obvious that it's just an advancement of an ideology, regardless of the flaws. Those are completely disregarded, and it's just the advancement of some mouth-breathing fucking dog shit ideology that died 100 years ago and should have stayed dead.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move to this. So this is a Pew study that came out that was actually pretty funny to justify that Trump says that the media is against him when the media is against him, and it's scientific.
Yeah, there was a study at Harvard that showed for the first 6 months of his presidency or something like that, 90% of media coverage was against him.
Yeah, it's they have it up there, and there is a decent amount of like it's pretty similar between Bush and Clinton, according to the research, and I do trust Pew to some extent on this. So I do believe that it is accurate that there was a lot of positive coverage of Obama, and there was a decent amount of unification, especially right after he got elected, even from conservatives. Some conservatives went off the deep end and said, like, they didn't. I won't say they all went to the whole he's a nigger territory, but it was pretty fucking insane, the amount of people that right out of the gate hated Obama. But the thing is that when Obama was first elected, a lot of people in this country, including many conservatives, were like, maybe he'll do some good. They actually did give him the benefit of the doubt, and I do think that this may have had something to do with it, that he did receive a decent amount of positive coverage.
I saw that from what I remember. I mean, obviously it's a few years back now, but from what I remember, there seemed to have been a huge pushback from libertarians calling him a socialist.
I can't speak to that. I don't think that I paid much attention to the libertarians in 2009, but it wouldn't surprise me to see them call. But isn't everyone a socialist from their perspective?
Well, yeah, I love how they're basically Mises incarnate, and like everyone's a fucking socialist. It's like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Do you believe in a state? Yeah. Well, you're a socialist. Oh, okay.
Socialist. You believe in
Damn.
public roads? Ah!
But in any case, our rip T's tire, by the way. That was I love that picture. Did you see those pictures? You probably didn't because he put them out on Twitter.
No. What was sorry?
His tire went flat, and he basically blamed the roads, tongue in cheek.
Yeah. T's got a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
Look at this fucking negative assessment, 62%. Neutral assessment, 33%, and positive is 5%.
Yeah, and you gotta understand that includes like right-wing news sources.
Yeah.
So, and I'm pretty sure that's the 5%.
I tell you, Fox News isn't even that fucking behind Trump.
No, they're not. They are to some degree. Like they definitely, like, if they can talk about things like the tax cuts and shit like that, or like if they want to talk about cutting Social Security or whatever, and they can somehow bring Trump into that, that's when they'll praise Trump.
Yeah.
But
then they're not just full-throated Trumpites.
No, they're not. And I've watched a few segments from Fox News where it's been the different shows, many of them fucking insufferable, where they flat out will criticize him. They'll just criticize him, or they'll criticize the way that he speaks or whatever else. Like, I don't like, maybe Sean Hannity's one of the more dogmatically pro-Trump people on Fox News.
He's close to Trump.
Yeah, but I've even seen Tucker Carlson when people have said, oh, like, it's funny how they try to get him in this pinch where they say, oh, well, you're going up against the president then. And he'll say, yeah, then I'm going up against the president. And that's one of the things I like about Tucker Carlson is that he'll praise Trump when he feels like it, but otherwise he doesn't really care.
Yeah.
He's just trying to make his point.
Tucker Carlson's been surprisingly good recently.
Yeah, he's been up there in terms of like if I had like a list of right-wing commentators that I like, you know, he's near the fucking top in my opinion in terms of
honestly, I wish he would look more into the far left's ideology. I really wish he would.
I mean, I can only begin to tell you, like, if I had an opportunity to go on his show, I would say, like, you should really stop covering the sort of, like, you know, oh man, this SJW said this dumb thing, and oh, this Democratic guy that we've had on 500 times said this dumb thing. It's like, really go to the root of this dude, and I guarantee you're gonna get some big fucking ratings.
Yeah,
because you get if he like basically went to the depths that you do routinely and put that out there for millions of people to see on national news and a national network, the next day it would be wall-to-wall coverage of that, where they'd be calling him an alt-righter, they'd be calling him a Nazi and everything else. Like they'd be,
and that would be fine because he's obviously not a Nazi,
right? But that's the thing, is that it would be something that would be so distinct that they would have to talk about it. So
Tucker could really jab at them if he was a. I might email Fox News and tell them, look, I know what the fucking far left are doing. Just get me on.
Yeah, I would just say, I would say that, you know, send something to Tucker Carlson's show, send it to Sean Hannity's show, send it to whoever the fuck's on their show, and
chat, spam them on Twitter.
Yeah, get Sargon on a Fox News stream.
If you want to understand the farmer, Sargon.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, that would be I can only imagine what some people would say if they saw you. Like, you just show up on Fox News one day, people would be like, "Oh my god, I knew it!" You know, he says he's a liberal. He says he's on the left. Oh, he's on Fox News. Like, it would be such.
Tim Pool was on Fox News.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, I can pull this.
I remember that. That was a good segment. Ian Miles Chong was on there, I think, more than once.
He was. I'll speak to Tim and like Tim.
You need to be like if you got on Tucker Carlson show, I would say I'll fly there. You should have like a sit down thing with him on stage. That'd be fucking amazing.
Wouldn't that be cool? Tucker, let me red pill you.
That'd be the coolest fucking thing in the world.
Yeah. I used to love Jon Stewart, and I loved it when he was chewing Tucker Carlson out on Crossfire. I thought that was great. And things have changed so goddamn much since then.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that if I were on a show, I would criticize him, because I think that, like, he does things where he panders too much to, like, the red meat, like, oh, this liberal said something retarded, or like, the one thing of his I can't fucking stand are the 4-minute segments where it's like he interviews somebody for 4 minutes. He's talking to I've seen. I'm pretty sure it was what's his name? Professor from Toronto, Jared Peterson. Jared Peterson, he had him on, and it was like Jared Peterson is not Jordan Peterson. Excuse me, Jordan Peterson. I'm like mixing Jared Taylor and Jordan Peterson. He had Jordan Peterson on, and it was like a 4-minute segment, and Peterson was going off on like a very actually philosophically deep, and I thought like, wow, this is some good shit. And it's like, yeah, we got to go. It's like, oh my God,
you're wasting an opportunity there, man.
And that's the thing, is that Tucker Carlson does that all the time, is that he has these like weird, really shitty 4-minute segments, and then other times he'll have like a 20-minute segment with some hack from the DNC who's a fucking retard.
Yeah.
And it's like what are you doing? So Tucker Carlson is kind of hit and miss on that thing. His segments are either good or it's like, wow, this is a waste of fucking time.
Yeah. But right, I hate to say this, man, but it's like 4:30 in the morning, so I'm gonna have to go to bed. I've really been enjoying the stream. I've really been enjoying hanging out and chatting.
That's good.
But
I appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, sure.
Oh man, you know. But yeah. When I come out to New York in like March, you gonna come and see me or what?
In March? What are you coming out to New York for in March?
Legal issues.
Oh yeah, that's right. I heard some fucking shit about you, and it's that what's her face thing, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna fight it and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll probably see if I can do a live show actually.
In New York? Oh, that'd be interesting.
Live in New York. It's Sargon of Akkad.
Watch out for the trucks of peace.
Well, yeah, I'm like we don't have that problem here.
Yeah, you're prepared.
But that's the thing. You guys don't have bollards. See, I mean,
no, we don't. Well, not yet. We do in Buffalo now, but it's only in certain spaces.
Can't truck a piece if you've got a concrete bollard. Checkmate, Islamist.
Yeah, it's not like they can have bombs attached to them.
But yeah, thanks for having me on, man. It's been really good fun.
Yep, no problem. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for all the commentary. This is a good stream so far for that.
Yeah, it's gonna suck now, isn't it? I'm just joking. Take it easy, man. Bye.
Yep, take it easy, man. All right, so thanks for Sargon for stopping by, and we only got a few more things here to talk about. Some of them not really important to what Sargon was here to do, and I'm not sure how much we had to say. I think we got most of the important things covered, so I'm glad that he was here for that. Okay, just want to check that. All right, so we'll move on from there, and we'll go to this because we're still talking about Trump. So I saw this pop up because I just recently started following Politico on Twitter, because I started picking up more and more articles from them that I thought, this is worth reading, this is worth talking about. And so what this article is some journalist, Matt Wucher from Politico, talking to a whole bunch of cartoonists. So Pat Bagley and Barry Blitt and all these different fucking professional cartoonists. So they draw caricatures of political figures in comic strips, to talk about politics. And it was amazing reading through this article. And what they have here is you hit this play button and you just get some, pre-recorded scripted thing by the different artists. And it was just amazing to me to listen to these people and how every single one of them sound exactly like the other. And every one of them, by all appearances, have Trump derangement syndrome. And it's just so funny. It's just such, like, this, if it was, like, if this, I know it's serious, like, they mean for this to be something genuine, but it could be a satire piece. This could be a piece satirizing journalism in America, because this is nothing more than a bunch of fucking bourgeois. All of them are white. All of them are white. Nearly all are male. They're all professional journalists. They're all boomers. And they all have the exact same fucking opinion and perspective and opinion of Trump. And it's just amazing. Like, this could be an amazing satire piece, but it's actually serious, where they think that Trump is just Hitler incarnate, and they have no means to actually have the self-reflection necessary to understand that they have a distorted perspective of who Trump is. And that's the thing, is that half these people think that they have some sort of deep insight into who Trump is when the opposite is true. So I will link to this if you feel like reading it, but it's kind of an amazing piece to read through if you want to get like an idea of how insulated these people are and how they're all like arrogant as shit and deluded. I thought it was funny. So yeah, I guess we can move to this article by Ian Miles Chung, and it's talking about Marvel Comics. So I mentioned this in my previous video that Marvel Comics is very slowly, but by all appearances is changing and switching away from social justice being the norm in their company and in their comics, because for a few years now, every one of their comics, pretty much, with few exceptions, have been changed, where they've gotten rid of the heroes that have existed in their comics and replaced them with basically SJW fucking caricatures. And they've been terrible. And so because of that, they've lost a lot in sales. And as a company, you know, a small, like the print version of Marvel, not in the movies, they've been doing very poorly. And so poorly that the guy's name is Axel Alonso. He ran Marvel for a decent period, and he was the guy that really enabled a lot of this. He was removed. He stepped down and was replaced by somebody that appears to be someone that is more willing to just scrap all of these different comics, and has done that. A whole litany of these shitty comics have been canceled. And the hope is that with this, his name is CB Bazinski or Bazalski. Maybe it says it in here. Let's see. CB Bazalski, is that what it is? I can't remember. It's not really that important, but a new person is heading it up, and it appears to be that the company is going to change. And what's amazing about this is that this is one of the few times that I've actually seen a company and potentially an industry actually just start to just say, like, yep, I guess this was our fault. Isn't the fact that every one of these people are racists and homophobes and all the rest? It might just be us, guys. And maybe they don't change. Like I said in my video, they could just turn around and double down on what has been done in the past and make the same mistakes. But, you know, there's a chance that they could turn this around and just go back to the way things were before social justice invaded their industry. And I pray for the day that that happens in gaming, because it is yet to happen. That is one of the biggest problems in gaming, as I say in my last video, that by all appearances, even though it's been 6 years since the actual push happened, like there was articles written all that before then, but 6 years ago was when, you know, you had every major outlet pushing this idea of more women, more diversity, social justice, blah, blah, blah. This was pushed 6 years ago, and the industry's still going forward, despite the fact that almost universally in the West, sales are declining. I mean, it's incredible, whether it's Activision, Ubisoft, EA, just name your company. It's down, across the board, a total decline. And it can't exclusively be credited to social justice, but I'm telling you that a decent portion of the blame rests with social justice and progressive politics being pushed into the gaming industry. My evidence for that also is the fact that the Eastern industry, the Japanese games, are exploding in popularity. Persona 5, because of the West, has hit a record in its sales. Persona 5 sold more than any previous Persona game. Despite its existing popularity in Japan, because of the West, it set a record for its series. That isn't just because all of a sudden a million fucking people became weeaboos. It's because it's like, okay, well, I have this game that appears to be pretty good, that it looks interesting, it's innovative, or I got the same old fucking shooter piece of shit with diversity from Ubisoft. I have the same fucking piece of shit shovelware game from Activision, etc. You know? The choices are limited at this point. So you got the same old fucking sequel shovelware, or you got a game that is a sequel, but it looks drastically different than the previous games. It's something fresh. It's something I haven't tried. You know, etc. And people gave it a shot, and guess what? Persona 5 is setting fucking records and making a lot of goddamn profit. And it's something that should be important if you're concerned about this industry. I don't want the West to be a fucking failure. I want the West to be Marvel. Stop pushing diversity. Stop pushing this shit. Stop pushing shitty characters, bad narratives, progressive politics for the sake of progressive politics. Go back to the way things were if you have to, because you lack innovation. But if you, I mean, at least do that. But if you can, just innovate away from this shit. Actually innovate. The only innovation we've had in 6 years has been fucking what kind of microtransaction scheme are we going to put in our game? Like, that's been the actual innovation by these companies, is gimmicks to bilk everyone out of their money. That's it. So let's move on from there. So I guess we could talk about this. This is actually something I wanted to talk about with Sargon. But Vanity Fair wrote an incredibly long article about Steve Bannon. And the headline of this is really a clickbait for the Beltway. If you are a Beltway person that hates Steve Bannon and you see I have power as Steve Bannon running for president, you click this article. This is not actually an article for the mainstream person. This is for people that are politicos, for Beltway people. And what this article is a very, very long explanation that Steve Bannon is a conservative activist. That is what he is. He is an activist. He wants to see his vision, his ideals, actualized in American politics. He has problems with people in the Trump administration that he doesn't like, that he disagrees with. And that's the summary of this fucking article. The issue is that they try to make him out to be a boogeyman. And that's the thing that I've always seen from journalists and people on the left and all that thing, is that they hate him and they want him to be a boogeyman. And it's not as though that they just can't just disagree with him, because I've heard things from Steve Bannon where I disagree. I don't agree with his position. I don't agree with his perspective. I don't agree with what he has to say. But the thing is that you can't then go on to say, knowing that you disagree with him, to say that, oh, he's just a fucking white supremacist, he's just this, he's just that, because that's just writing him off. You can't just say what he's wrong about. You can't just say that what he actually believes and why you disagree and make it an opinion piece. Instead, you just got to demonize the guy. And unfortunately, what I think that does is that it gives people like Steve Bannon, or just Steve Bannon, an opening to make him alluring. Because if you make him dark and mysterious and edgy and outside social norms and outside the Overton window, you make him attractive. And they're doing this not knowing this. They have no concept that that is what they're actually doing with him. Because the second I saw this, I clicked this, like, whoa, what the fuck is this? I clicked it, I read through it, and I'm like, this is just explaining that the guy's a fucking activist. That's all this is. But and at some points it's funny because he actually makes some good points. That's one of the things, is that they inadvertently make him look good by making sense in certain ways, especially if you're concerned about particular issues that these people aren't concerned about. The people that write these kind of articles, that are politicos in Washington, D.C., they aren't concerned about what Steve Bannon thinks. They aren't really concerned about what he thinks. They just don't like him as a person. They see him as an activist against their political ends, so they don't like him. And that's as far as it goes. So when they present his ideas in this article to the limited degree that they do, it actually stands out and it makes him look good. Because it's him actually trying to express his ideas. It's not just him saying, you're a communist, you're a leftist, you're this, you're that. It's actually him expressing his ideas and talking about what he believes. So I just thought I would bring this up. And if you have a lot of time, you can go try to get through this. It's a very long article. But if you want to have, I'll link it in the description after we're done with this. But I thought it was worth reading, and it's just kind of amazing to read through it, and for these people to not really understand, like the allure of him. Like they understand that there is an allure to Steve Bannon, and they actually are guilty of that themselves. They're obsessed with him. But the thing is, it's because he's actually on stage expressing his ideas, and they don't have the means by which to actually deny him that. They don't know how to actually defeat him. And that's half of this piece, is not understanding that this guy's an activist, and you don't know, you yourself, Gabriel Sherman, don't know how you can defeat him. So it's worth that read for that sake. So yeah, I didn't talk about this, and maybe this is something that could have been in Hangout stream, where it's just kind of a goofy thing that happened at the end of November. But this article that was in a student newspaper is Texas State University. This has to be one of the craziest fucking things put out there. This is okay. That's the bottom of the article. This has to be one of the most obscene things written. Talking about, like, if you want to talk about like the anti-white sentiment that exists in the country. I'm not sure if I actually saved this article for that, but this is one of the like AAA examples of holy shit, anti-white sentiment exists in this country, and it is borderline genocidal already. Because that's actually one of the thoughts expressed in this, is that the only way to solve the issue of quote-unquote whiteness, which is the left-wing acceptance of a white identity, is to basically, you can't reform it, so you just genocide it out of existence. So it's like, okay, when you make these kind of arguments, you basically prove the alt-right right. So when the alt-right comes out, or whomever come out and say white genocide is a thing, and these people come out and say, yeah, by the way, I want to genocide whites, it's like, you do realize that you're actually giving power to your opposition by doing that. It really is some crazy shit, and I won't get into like the details of what is said in this. You can go read it, but it's like, this is the thing. Okay, this is one of the things that said, white death, so the death of whites, will mean liberation for all. So what that does is it creates a dichotomy where, in order for anyone who's not white to be liberated, you have to eliminate whites. You have to, the death specifically of whites. So that is an argument in favor of genocide, and specifically white genocide, not by, I fuck an Asian girl and have a half-white child, but literally we exterminate whites. We actively kill whites. And I have to say that maybe that's some anti-white sentiment right there. Maybe that's some anti-white racism. Maybe. I'm not going to make the argument that for sure is, but maybe it is. I'll link this article. I would definitely read through this, because some of the quotes from this article are fucking insane. And the thing is that this is when people can talk about the fact that Sargon's right about, like, do you think this Rudy guy just came out of the ether? Came out of the blue, just had this opinion? No, he got this opinion from his professors. He was indoctrinated, whether it was by someone on campus that was indoctrinated themselves by a professor who became a social justice activist who indoctrinated him, or he himself was indoctrinated by a professor. This is the fucking end result, is that you have a guy arguing in favor of fucking genocide. So just something to consider when we talk about academia. Okay, so we'll end on this article, because we've been going for a while. So I'll do this article. I'll actually save this Chinese article for another time. So this was another political piece that I picked up on Twitter. And what this is, and I have a bunch of these articles that I could talk about. What this article is yet another example that the people that are the Queen Hillary kind of people, the people that are people like me, that are consumed by demographics and by voter turnout and by, you know, who's part of what party. And, you know, you're a politico. You are someone that is concerned about incredibly niche information that only somebody that's a politico or somebody involved in politics or is on a campaign, only those kind of people are going to be considerate of these kind of details. And it's important details from my perspective to talk about, but it's niche information. But the issue is, and the reason why I have this article here, is that this is a clear example, it's hardly the only one I have, that the part of the Democratic Party or the part of the so-called left that exists that is concerned about these details of demographics, part of it is just out of their minds. Like they are so disconnected from reality that they understand there's a problem, but they have no means by which to explain it. And so they come up with just incredibly fucking, like, just absurd reasons for why things are happening the way they're happening. Just on their face fucking absurd reasons for why they're not winning. They think they should be winning. They're not winning. So they come up with the means by which to explain that fact that are so disconnected from reality that it's just, you read it and it's just like, wow, how can anyone think that? And that's this article. So this was written actually yesterday, and it's just a very overly long piece that does everything in its power to explain away the fact that they are the racists. They don't want to admit the fact that they are the ones obsessed with race. They want everyone else to be obsessed with race so that way they can justify their own fucking perspective. But they are arguing in favor of other people, of people that don't support them, believing things that they know they don't believe, just to try to somehow explain the fact that they don't support their political beliefs. Because in the last election in 2016, white men went strongly in favor of Trump. So did working class white women, uneducated, so don't have college or whatever, incredibly strongly in favor of Trump. It was only educated white women that voted for Hillary. But uneducated, meaning specifically you don't have a formal education or advanced education, heavily in favor of Trump. White men, regardless of education, heavily in favor of Trump. Especially not advanced degree white men, unbelievable. Like, I forget what it was, like 60, 70% in favor of Trump, that's an incredible statistic. So here's the thing. Okay, let's just read this, okay? As his first year in the White House draws to a close, Donald J. Trump remains almost every respect of a singular character. He exists well outside the boundaries of what most observers previously judged possible, let alone respectable. So already we have the concern is not policy. It's not, anything real. It's not philosophy. It's bourgeois social norms. When you talk about respectability, you're talking about bourgeois social norms. So if I get on a stage and say, this guy's a cocksucker, you go, oh, I can't believe he said that. Oh, that's all it is. It's all that this is you don't like the way that the guy speaks. You don't like the way that the guy puts people down. You don't like the guy for being informal. That's it. Maybe you do disagree with his policies, but this being the first fucking thing you point out is such an admission on your part to what your priorities are. You're consumed by your own fucking bourgeois attitude. Like, it blinds you to everything. And that's what I mean when people say that they don't like me using the word bourgeois. Like, you don't understand the context and the way that I'm using it. It is incredibly accurate to use it in this way, to say that this guy's bourgeois sensibilities for how someone articulates a position, or it just articulates themselves generally, that it consumes them so much that they can't understand that, like, it's petty. It's absurd for that to be your primary focus. It should be his politics. It should be his philosophy. It should be his policies. It's not how he speaks. it's so ridiculous on its face, and yet these people, that's their actual primary concern. But continuing on, in American politics, to catalog the norms he has, again, the bourgeois social norms, he has violated the traditions, he has trounced or trampled, and the rules, written and unwritten, bourgeois social norms that has either cunningly sidestepped or audaciously blown to smithereens would require volumes. No one fucking cares about your bourgeois social norms. Daniel Downey Jr. No one cares about your fucking bourgeois social norms. No one. Love him or loathe him, Trump operates apart from history. I wouldn't even agree with that statement. Plenty of presidents have been fucking out there. Yet if Trump defies history, paradoxically, he has also resurfaced questions that historians have long debated, including some that many considered settled for many years. In this sense, Trump hasn't just defied history, he has changed it. And he has changed the way that we think about it, forcing us to look back on our past with a new lens. I don't think so. I don't think Trump is kind of a weird president to have, but he is not like he's not so outside like the stock politician that it's impossible to understand that he became president. Like he's not some rodeo clown retard in that he is completely incompetent in the position. You can argue that he isn't necessarily a good president or an effective president, even though it's only been a year to make that judgment. But it's fair to make that argument, but to say that somehow he has defied history, he's gone against everything, it's not true. We've had crazy presidents. Plenty. I mean, you had presidents like fucking Andrew Jackson who defied Congress in order to do the Trail of Tears. Congress ruled against him. He defied fucking Congress to do that. And you're saying that Trump, who has laid down every single time that he's had a court case against him that's rendered against him from the Supreme Court, or Congress has defied him in some way, he's still fighting to get funding for the wall. And you think that he's somehow this abnormal figure that's just dictatorial in every sense. It's like, you're out of your minds. He hasn't done anything outside of breaking bourgeois social norms. That's the only thing that he's defied in history, quote unquote. When even there, I don't think that's true. This Politico magazine series to be published in 3 installments, Jesus. I'm not reading anymore after this. Over the next few weeks, we'll look into 3 historical debates that simmered on low heat for years until the historical president election of November 2016 brought them back to boil. These debates are foundational. They concern race and identity. Again, like, you are the ones making this about race and identity. As you lose more and more black men, Latinos, and Asians, as you continue to lose your diversity in the diversity party, as they go more independent, you are the ones making this about race and identity, not Trump. I don't recall once where Trump stood on a stage and was like, white supremacism is tremendous. Let's talk about the white man. It's tremendous. Like, he never fucking did that. Never once. Never once. Name me a single time Trump introduced the topic of race. Name it. Because the only time that I'm aware that he ever did something that you could say he introduced was the fucking speech that he gave where he talked about Mexicans. Where he talked about illegal immigration and he specifically name-dropped Mexicans. That's it. That's it. That's what you got. That's the one card in your deck. And you played it when he said it, and it didn't matter. So unless you have something new, which is the thing is, just name it. Name what he has done. Don't just say he has said things that have brought up race and identity. Just fucking name it. Name it. Say what he has said. Don't just give vague statements. But this is the thing. This is just, in my opinion, this is just total obfuscation. Total obfuscation. You don't even know what it is. You don't even know what it is that you don't even like him for. You don't even know what it is. It's bourgeois social norms. There's the reason why you don't like him. That's why. But race and identity, he's not the one bringing it up. You do. The left does. The Democratic Party endlessly talks about race. You know, it's and does to its own detriment. I think that's pretty clear at this point, that it isn't fucking helping them voter-wise to endlessly talk about fucking race. National character, the dark side of populism. Ooh, boogity, boogity, boogity. Fucking populism. That is a left-wing code word, by the way, populism. But I don't even want to get into it. They drive at the core meaning of American citizenship. Well, that is one thing, but it's not because of fucking Trump. The first in this series, perhaps the most fundamental, centers around the white working class. Are white working class voters shooting themselves in the foot by making common cause with a political movement that is fundamentally inimical to their economic self-interest, assuming that you understand their self-interest? In exchange for policies like the new tax bill, which several nonpartisan analyses conclude will lower taxes on the wealthy and will raise them for the working class, did they recently just settle for a wall that will likely never be built? I don't know about that. A rebel yell for Confederate monuments, most of them will never visit. Well, that's true. That's true. I'm not in favor of Confederate monuments being taken down because they're being stripped down by fucking communists. You know, if you, as some fucking bourgeois cocksucker living in the Beltway, doesn't like Confederate monuments, you're never going to visit them either, bro. So what does it matter if they stand, if they just stay there? What's it matter? You're never going to fucking go there, so let them stay. What does it even matter to you? You know, that's the thing, is that, like, you don't even acknowledge that this is going to be a debate. That's the thing, is that you just say, oh, well, this doesn't advance the working class white interest for the Confederate monuments to stay. When it's like, no, actually, what if it's working class whites from that area that don't want these statues to be torn down by communists that are likely even outside of their own area? Because that's what happened in my area. I did a whole petition about tearing down a statue of Christopher Columbus. You know, they have attacked it, not desecrated it, but vandalized it. They vandalized it multiple times, even after I did my petition, which was actually more votes than the other one, by the way, even though I didn't get any mainstream coverage. I don't want to rip down because it's communists that are doing it. All right, and that's why they're doing it. It's the reason why the Chinese communists rip down all their statues and everything else. The same fucking reason. Same reason. It's to express ideological supremacy. That's why they want to do it. So if some black guy says, I don't really like Confederate monuments, I'm going to say, yeah, I agree with you. I don't really like Confederate monuments either. I don't really feel much sympathy with Southern pride or whatever. Confederate, you know, any Confederate sympathies or whatever it may be, that for the reasons why people like Confederate monuments. I don't like Confederate monuments, but I don't want communists ripping down statues to express their ideological supremacy in our society. All right? That's what this is about. And I'll debate anybody on the fucking issue. I'll debate anybody on that issue. Because anywhere you look about those statues, go look up the groups that are looking to rip them down. They're all fucking social justice half-screw commie groups. Every single one of them. So, spare me. Anyways, where the fuck were we? Confederate monuments they'll never visit, and the hollow validation of a disappearing world in which white was up and brown was and black were down. Again, like, what the fuck are you? Again, this is you bringing up race. This is you bringing up race. What the fuck are you talking about? In a society where right now we have set records in interracial relationships, what the fuck are you talking about? But that's the thing, and I know where this is going to go. If they did accept this bargain, why? Or are we missing something? What is this? Actually, I'm not clicking that. Might working class whites, in fact, derive some tangible advantage from their bargain with Trump? There you go. There's your fucking answer. Maybe there's something other than the tax breaks for the fucking rich. Is it really so irrational to care more about, say, illegal immigration than marginal income tax rates? No. No, it is not irrational to care more about illegal immigration than income tax rates. Because one of the problems with illegal immigration is that things have advanced so quickly in the last few years that even now I'm concerned about illegal immigration. And I'm not concerned about tax rates as I am with illegal immigration. Because one of the problems with illegal immigration is that there's an active push for citizenship to mean nothing. That citizenship is just an empty concept at this point. That if you're here and you're illegal, you can just do whatever the fuck you want. Don't pay taxes, commit crimes, do whatever you want. You have more rights in some ways as an illegal than you do an American citizen. And not only is that fundamentally unjust, it's like, what am I even paying taxes for? What am I voting for? What am I paying taxes for if illegals have more rights than legal citizens do? You know, and again, it's not the right introducing this. The right wing is not the far right, the right, the center right. The right is not introducing this as a problem. The left is. The left is making this a fucking problem. And it's for a variety of reasons. One, the anarchists love it. The communists love it. And the Democrats that want these votes love it. That's who loves this. Also the corporatists, they love it too, because they reject national sovereignty, but it's mainly communists and fucking, well, I guess you could say it's mainly communist thought that's an anarchist thought that's behind this, but it is actually the corporatists and the fucking cynical Democrats that are pushing for this because they want to undermine constraining illegal immigration so that it benefits corporations so they can flood the labor pool, and also you can flood districts that will then in turn vote for your political party. So this is incredibly fucking cynical. And it is a serious issue because you're putting citizenship and sovereignty on the line. And those are two fundamental things about being a nation, having citizenship and being sovereign. When you just throw those away to win an election, that's incredibly dangerous. And it's really one of the worst parts of the Democratic Party, in my opinion, is that they see this as somehow their means by which to win an election when it's incredibly fucking destructive to the country. And I would say that there are aspects to what Republicans do that is destructive. Them falling over backwards to blow up the deficit so they can try to privatize Social Security, I think that's dangerous to the country. But even then, when you compare that to potentially citizenship meaning nothing, you can see that there's a little bit of a difference in terms of the priority and the danger. Obviously, that being in favor of citizenship, that being the primary danger. So the thing is, and I guess we can skip this because it's getting boring. He goes on to talk about W.E.B. Du Bois. So, and here's the thing. Okay, we're talking about the election in 2016. Okay, November 2016. This is the primary issue. The United States here and now. We're now in the new current year plus one of 2018. We're talking about something that's incredibly fucking relevant to right now. Why the fuck are we talking about 80 years ago? 80 years ago. What the fuck does this have to do with anything? And that's what you run into. And the thing is, it goes on and it gets worse and worse. It starts talking about the Jim Crow South. It just gets worse and worse and worse. I mean, it goes back to 1883. But in 1883, Democrats campaigned with intense focus on the issue of intermarriage and miscegenation, which is interbreeding between races. That's how fucking far back they have to go to make an argument about the white working class. And guess what? It's 100% about race. When I don't remember a single fucking conservative that I spoke to, a single fucking conservative I have ever spoken to that has ever in any way said anything in favor of Trump. I don't remember a single time that they have brought up race, let alone miscegenation. This article is fucking absurd. To be talking about, that somehow this has to do with fears of inter-race mixing. That is fucking ludicrous. That is so absurd on its face that whatever this cocksucker's name is, Daniel Downey Jr., you should be or no, actually, that's the guy that did the illustration. Excuse me. It's Joshua Zeitz. You should be embarrassed you fucking wrote this, bro. This is embarrassing to have read and for you to have written. This is a ludicrous fucking article that you think that modern, again, like, again, not counting the alt-right dickheads on the internet, just your average conservative you know in real life. The conservatives in your family, your conservative neighbor, your conservative fucking coworkers, how many of them have ever breathed a word about interracial marriage or miscegenation? How many? I've never experienced once in my life, ever, a fucking conservative that has ever said to me that, oh, miscegenation is wrong. Interracial couples are. I was about to say I got one example though. How many conservatives have you experienced that have made that a point? The only person I've ever met in my life that has ever vocally said to me that they don't support interracial marriage was my grandmother, who voted straight ticket Democrat from pretty much FDR until Obama, because she didn't like Obama because she was black, so she voted for John McCain. That's the one time in her life that she voted for a fucking Republican. Maybe with the exception of maybe not Truman, Eisenhower, who was a Republican. Maybe then she voted for fucking Eisenhower, but even with, I don't even think she voted for Reagan. I don't even think my grandmother voted for Reagan. She was a straight ticket Democratic voter and a fucking overt racist. And she's the only person I've ever heard that's made an overt comment about how she doesn't like interracial couples. Not a conservative. She's conservative in that belief, in a sense, but you don't have to be a Republican to be a fucking racist. You can be a lifelong Democrat and be a fucking racist, going all the way back to the fucking 30s and 40s when you're voting, and you're still a racist then till now. She's dead now, but you get my point. You know, racism is not exclusive to the Republican Party, and to say so is fucking ridiculous. Or conservatism, however they want to phrase this. It's flatly fucking ridiculous. So I'll stop sharing my screen. And we'll actually move on. Some weird picture on Twitter. Anyways, let's get to the super chat, which I've been ignoring for this entire stream. And so I will say I apologize for those of you that I've been ignoring, including the guy that apparently gave me $200 fucking dollars. Sorry for ignoring you, brother. But, you know, I have to focus on the stream itself, especially when I had the feeling that Sargon may have about to dip out sooner or later. So, Will Hannah here says, here, fag, you're worth more than the Newports, I guess. Newport cigarettes suck, bro. I smoke Marlboro. TK says, Lewis, can you rage for a bit? It's cathartic. Maybe somewhere in there, but not really now. CJ says Trump is an anime. Google Inuyasha Trump. Yeah, I think I've seen that on Twitter already. Far Squawk said for $100. One article done. Now talk about anime for 2 hours, Lewis. I don't think it's going to happen. Mitch says the news about Joji was coming for a while. He's barely done anything and has only done serious music, which, by the way, is really shit. I won't say that it's necessarily shit or not. I don't really like it, but it is unfortunate. Far Squawk says again for $100. I'll remember this the next time I try to free speech you. You prole cat girls can consent. That's true. That's the truest statement that's been said in the stream so far. FSXY says Far Squawk confirmed for anime rights. Soros, maybe so. Ballard of Swords says, Sargon, can I get a signed photo of your ass selfie? Oh, that would have been funny to read when he was here. Too bad. Thanks for the support, though. Bazinski says, Lou, I'm poor for paying vacations in Rio de Janeiro. Can't donate much. Lewis plus Sargon equals heart, instant orgasm. Save your money, Bazinski, to pay off your paramilitary squads to not kill you. Bazinski says again, at Sargon, read We by Zezgini Zamvin, since you're into 1984. Bazinski says again, we pay Pakistan for Jirga justice for raped women's. Also, Bin Laden was jerking his meat to some base Dead or Alive Extreme 3 and Weeb Nico porn. Yeah, I actually, that was what somebody sent me. That part of what Bin Laden was looking at was like anime and hentai shit. I like how like if he played video games or whatever, I'm surprised like, oh, another Gamergator playing this fucking anime shit. Fucking Osama bin Laden. I'm surprised there weren't articles written. I'm surprised. Hitchens predicted this youth rebellion years ago by Mitch. Mitch says again, the me doesn't need feminism, free everyone. Or the Middle East doesn't need feminism, free everyone. Anti-tribalists like Spino go re-Islamist apologists. Kotov says, I work at a Canadian Walmart. A doctorate of economics is selling cell phones. I have a doctor filling milk, 4 engineers stocking shelves. I'm not really sure what you mean by that, other than you guys wasted a lot of money and a lot of time getting those degrees, apparently. Louis Le Vau, you want to fuck? Mitchell, no thank you. I don't fucking, bang men. Will Hanna says, put V on weeb, fucko, racist, hashtag synth lives matter. Will, I'm not really following you there. Psychotic Cognition says, hey, Lewis, have you heard that the Magic Gathering community guy has identified like over... Yeah, I have heard this, believe me. I have this guy on my Skype, and I know this. He's identified 10 convicted pedophiles employed as judges at Magic. I've watched his videos, too. Yeah, I saw he was on a stream the other day, I think, with Andy Worski, and he was going through it with a few people. And yeah, it's pretty fucking insane. Yeah, there's for whatever reason, there's a lot of pedophiles in Magic the Gathering, and Jeremy had to do was skim the surface, and he's like uncovered like a dozen or so fucking pedos. Pretty crazy. So yeah, good on him for looking into it, and that's pretty much what happens when they fucked him over pretty hard by banning him for life, and it's like now all he has is time and reasons to fuck with them. So they created a monster in him. CJ says, how would you rate Trump on his first year? I don't really know. I've seen a lot of people giving assessments of that. I'm not really sure that I would. I'm not sure that I've paid enough attention to really everything. I assume that, in terms of what he has done, he hasn't really followed up on the things that I've wanted him to. The trans ban thing is now done. That's now over with. So that's now the trans ban's over. What was in effect is now back in effect. As far as he did get the travel ban, but it's still the right sentiment, the wrong idea, the wrong implementation. Someone has to advise him, like, this is 100% an immigration issue. The travel ban is not the issue. It's an immigration issue. He should be focused on that and not thinking that this ridiculous Band-Aid is going to have to do shit. The big things like immigration, the wall, other things, the big promises that he's made, trade is also another big one he's not done anything with. So in terms of the reasons why I could support Trump, it is closing in on a 0 for me for what he's done that I would support. Outside of him, again, like I do think that he's important to have as a political figure. The shit that he's put out there on Twitter is incredibly important and really provocative stuff. So I wouldn't say that in terms of like a 0 to 10 rating that he would be a 0, but I would say that I would give him a 7 out of 10 on being a shit stirrer, and in terms of representing my interests. And I didn't vote for him, so it's like I can't really say that he's there to represent my interests really. But as my president, I'll give him like a 4 out of 10. So combine those two and you have something near the middle, maybe above the middle. I don't like, I didn't elect him, I didn't vote for him, you know what I mean? So there's only so much that I can really expect for him to do for me, and how much I've really invested in him in any way when I didn't support him. And I don't really, I like Sargon the other day said that he supports Trump because of the shit that he says and all that. But it's like, I don't go that far. He actually has to do something that I actively support before I can say that I support Trump. He has to do something that I directly support, rather than, him tweeting is great, but I want to see policy. He's not a political figure. He's the president. And I don't really support the tax cuts. So that's the big accomplishment for Republicans this year. I don't support it. So it's like, there's not really much for him to brag about to me specifically, if that makes sense. All right, so let's close this out. That was all the super chats, and chat's still going 100 miles a minute, so it's kind of hard to see where this is going to go. Oh, is it actually catching up? Is that why it's going so fast? Yeah, it is. Okay. So is there any questions as soon as this catches up? Oh, okay, yeah. So here's a question by Mitch Connor. Thoughts on the California Progressive Inquisition punishing an anti-Muslim troll? Yeah, that was pretty crazy. The guy did say some, things that I wouldn't put in that way, but it's like, it's pretty much the end result of California. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't tried to enact blasphemy laws just a virtue signal, Like, obviously they wouldn't stand up to the Supreme Court, but I'm surprised at this point that California hasn't tried to enact blasphemy laws, like, legitimately. Fire Squawk says, does Lewis even watch anime anymore? If you disregard hentai, I haven't watched anime in years. It's been more than 2 at this point, so I don't really watch anime. I haven't in a long time. Maybe at some point I'll feel the strong urge to watch anime, but it just hasn't happened. Oh yeah, thank you, CYY Lee. Thank you for reminding me. CYY Lee says, talk about your bad experience with the Muslim the other day. Okay, so I was in Buffalo. I was working, and I was parked on this side street, and I'm just sitting there, like, just my motor's running because it's really, really cold around here right now. So I'm sitting there, and I was like playing on my phone, or actually no, I wasn't playing on my phone. I was typing up my report for the day before. So I was typing up my report, and when I do that, I kind of focus in on what I'm doing, and all of a sudden, I see this woman walking by the side of my car, and she has the head covering on, and I'm not sure of her, like, ethnicity, 100% foreign, probably like Pakistani, like Eurasian. I'm not sure. She didn't speak with a thick enough accent for me to pick up on what she actually was in terms of her ethnicity, but 100% foreign, not born in the United States. And she runs alongside my vehicle and, like, is trying to, like, look into my vehicle, but I got smoked windows. She can't see. So she looks through the windshield. She comes over to the driver's side, and I rolled on my window, and I said, "Hey, what's up?" And she asked me, like, what are you doing here? And she wasn't rude up front, but she asked me, like, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh, I'm an insurance investigator. I'm here working a case. Like, If you need me to move, I can move, but I'm here working. And she goes, well, is it possible that you can give me a jump? And I said, what? And she goes, well, my battery's dead. If you can you give me a jump? So I say, all right, what the hell? I'll give you a jump. And so I pull back, I pull in her driveway, and I was parked right near her house. So I pull up close to her vehicle, I pop my hood, I get out, and I ask I say, I'm not sure if I have my jumper cables on me. Do you have any jumper cables? She's like, I already got them attached. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I get my car ready because you got to take off this like shield thing over the battery. So I take that off, and I'm attaching the cables, and she says, are you sure you're doing this right? And I said, well, I'm not too sure because I can't remember whether I attached the positive and the negative on my battery or I attached the positive and the negative on your battery. And I said, I'm pretty sure I don't attach the negative on my battery. It's only on yours. And she says, well, why don't you just put it on the battery? And I said, well, I know that it could like damage the battery. It could blow your battery if you attach both on both. Like you're not supposed to do that. She goes, well, no, you're supposed to do that. And I'm like, and I said to her, no, I've jumped cars before. I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to do that on both batteries. I said to her, listen, I don't remember this, but that you have to only attach the positive on one of the batteries. And I asked her, in a genuine manner, like, do you know offhand which battery it is? She doesn't answer me. She just looks at me. So I just say, okay, okay. So I attach the positive to my battery, both to hers. And so I say, well, let me turn on the car. I'll rev it a little bit. We'll give it a minute. We'll see if we can power you up and get you going. Because she said to me she's in a rush. So I, start my car, rev it up, let it sit for a minute. She goes in her house. She comes back out. And I say, give it a go. Let's see how it goes. And so she tries to start it, doesn't start. And I said, well, I guess we could give it another try. And I went to go get my phone because I was going to look it up. And she goes, well, forget it. I'll get my neighbor. And I said, well, no, just, give it a minute. I said, just, we can troubleshoot this. We can figure it out. And she goes, no, that's fine. I'll get my neighbor. And she just looks at me. And I just sat there and I said to myself, like, I didn't say anything to her. I just said, fair enough. And I took my shit off my car. I threw it right on her hood. And I put the thing back over my battery. I closed my hood. I just pull back out and pull back. And I just said to myself, like, this is what I get every fucking time I have an interaction with a Muslim. Every fucking time they are rude to me. Every fucking time. It's like, I'm here. I'm doing you a favor. You start criticizing me. It doesn't work the way that it needs to. And I recognize this. And I say, well, let me just try to troubleshoot this. And you dismiss me and say, I'll just get my neighbor. Took the neighbor half an hour to get over there, to jump the battery, to get her to go. And it's like, if you weren't fucking rude to me, then I probably would have been able to figure out a second later, and we could have figured out, and you would have been on your way half an hour sooner. But instead, you fucking just dismissed me like I'm your fucking dog. When it's like, and I don't even really want to get into it, but it's like, you're some fucking foreigner. You're asking me, a natural-born citizen, for fucking favors. I acquiesce to you, and then you fucking treat me like an asshole. It's like people say to you, oh man, you have a negative outlook, a negative sentiment towards Muslims. It's like every fucking time I interact with a Muslim, they treat me like shit. Every fucking man, female, male, female, old, young, they all fucking are rude to me. And this is the truth, and I've said this before, that's why this guy brought it up. I have never had a single positive interaction with a Muslim. Not once. Not one. It's always ever been neutral or directly fucking negative, like it was the other day. It's like, you literally ask me for a favor and I'm trying to help you, and you treat me like I'm a fucking asshole. It's a Muslim thing. I'm just going to say that. It's a Muslim thing. See, I want to see if anyone actually corrected me on which way the right way is to do it. I know somebody's got to actually give me the correct information because I haven't jumped the battery in quite a while. I see taco lickers in the fucking chat. Hey, how's it going there, taco licker? You're pretty much a regular at this point. Any other questions before we wrap this up? Negative to battery, positive to car. That doesn't sound right. Complete the circuit. uh Positive to dick. Oh man, that's pretty much what I expected people to start putting in the chat. Sent it to you on Lewis on Twitter. Season of Dead Batteries, red on black, black on black on both batteries. You don't need to rev shit. If you want to do it the safest way, hook to dead battery first, then go. Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did. Yep. Yep. That's what I did. I don't know if it's on both batteries, though. I was told that it's not on both. I mean, maybe that's bad information that somebody gave me. Fire Squawk says waiting in a 3+ hour rant on how shit Nico Parr is. I don't think Nico Parr is shit. I've talked about this before. I just think it's incredibly fucking creepy. Like I've already said this. The girls in the game just seem like mentally defective. They don't seem like they're at the same cognition level or cognitive level of the player. Like they just seem dumb, and they're all like that. And yet they're like all in heat and they want to fuck you, and you as a human are like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck you. It's just fucking weird, man. I played the first one for like a few hours. I just couldn't get into it. It was repulsive, so I stopped. That's where all this that whole meme came from of cat girls can't consent. Is that it's just creepy as shit. They're supposed somebody says weeaboo crusher, they're supposed to be seen as submissive sexual slave pets. I guess if that's the case, then I'm not into it. Lou, debate the alt-right on the existence of Asians in an ethno state. I'll just let fucking Jared Taylor do it for me. Because the guy grew up in fucking Japan, and I can't imagine that he's in there like, yeah, I'm sure he'll come up with some fucking cockamamie thing like, oh, well, there's so much distinction that we must separate the races because that's how we see each other, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, you know, my end goal is trying to get the Superman, you know, the Ubermenschen, and the way to do that is to merge the races. You know, I'm the truest supremacist because I want to I want to evolve or not evolve. What's the word? I want the white race to ascend, and the way that ascension happens is by the racial merger. Yes, I have a gun. I see a bunch of people mentioning Blair White. I'm not really sure what you're talking about. Oh, I did send out a tweet earlier. Maybe I'll look that up. Okay, Bubba's saying that it's for on both batteries. I sent out a tweet earlier, and it was with fucking what's her name, Jacqueline Glenn, and I swear to God, man, it's like I don't know why all of a sudden she's just resurfacing. But I sent that out. Oh man, fuck! Did I just send out a bad link? How's that possible? Okay, that one works. Actually, can I delete that? There we go. Sorry about that. Here's the actual link. Yeah, I got it. I got it. What the fuck? Why doesn't it come up? It's the link that I'm tweeting. I don't understand. I don't understand why it's not working. I'll try it one more fucking time. Hold on. Remove. I guess it's not just for whatever fucking reason. It's fucking Twitter shadow banning me or some shit. Anyways, yeah, fucking Jacqueline Glenn making out with who the fuck ever, her girlfriend or whatever, and Blair White's in the picture, and I fucking said like it's me harkening back to the Life is Strange meme of even the Yuri shit. No, that was actually Mass Effect Andromeda. That's where that meme actually starts, is even the Yuri is shit. Was that somebody sent me this like Tumblr? I think it was actually Raging Buffalo sent me this picture of the what's her face, the protagonist, the female protagonist of Mass Effect Andromeda, her like in the arms of PB, and or it may have even been Liara. I think it might have been PB. I can't remember, but she's in the arms of PB, and it had like the whole like Tumblr like red nose and all that shit, and I was just like, and I made that the caption of one of my videos. Even the Yuri is shit. Because it's like, it's true. It's like even in this one aspect where you're like propagandizing lesbianism, where I'm fine with that. Even that is terrible. It's like everything about this is just awful. And so yeah, that's why that's the joke when it comes to that tweet that I sent out, is that I am the most dogmatically in favor of lesbianism person that you're gonna meet, and yet it's like still there's depictions of lesbianism where it's like, wow, that's cringy as shit. And it's like, if I think that's cringy, it is objectively fucking cringy. So that's why I mention it. Jacqueline Glenn, protagonist of Prey, lesbians and Space Boogaloo. Well, that's the thing. I liked Prey, but it is true. If you go play the game, go play Prey, and notice how many fucking lesbians there are in the game. It's ridiculous. Sarah Ryder, that's what her name is. All right, so I'll take one more question, and then we'll I guess I'll give this one to Mitch, and then we'll do one more. So Mitch asks, have you ever had a spiritual moment, acid or sober experience? The answer is no. That's something that actually I've had a bunch of people, including my own mother, when I was becoming an atheist, which was a pretty fast transition between Catholic to atheist. Not that I didn't consider it for quite a while, but once I came to the conclusion that I didn't believe in a God, it was pretty quick. That was one of the things that people argued with me about, is that, oh, haven't you ever had a spiritual experience? Haven't you ever felt the presence of a spirit or God or whatever? And my answer is no. Like, when you say I have this kind of spiritual experience, my experience in life has just been stone cold fucking reality. You know, that's been my life. So if you got high on peyote and found God, that's great for you, man. But it didn't. It's never happened to me. You know, and I don't think that I should have to drop acid to find God. I did not see the Winter Classic today. I don't watch sports, but I believe that's you're talking about hockey, though. Uh, see, yeah, let's get one more good question, and then we'll end this. I see what's with all these questions about Blair White? What the fuck? I have no opinion of Blair White. I don't watch her content. Like, I don't really have an opinion. I don't know. It must be some kind of fucking meme. Yes, radical centrist has it right. Lives in Buffalo but doesn't watch hockey. The Bills made the playoffs for the first time in like 17 years. I think it is. I don't fucking care. I don't care. I don't watch sports, man. Is roaming a millennial Asian enough? I don't know if I believe I said it in the last stream that the joke I came up with for roaming millennial, but I didn't drop her name, was that I was gonna get somebody to say like basically what you're saying is that like would you bang roaming millennial, and my answer was going to be I would take that halfu and make quarters. Not too effective after you do it more than once in terms of the same joke. I did not get. I actually have my. Somebody asked if I get my testosterone levels tested yet. I haven't, but I do have my DNA test that I've yet to finish, sitting in the background. So eventually, I'm gonna do that. I have no opinion of Boogie. Do another round of reading super chats. Did you give me money? If McDonald's doesn't serve dark meat in their nuggets, does that make them alt-right? I'm not too sure, Sergeant Buck. That sounds like they're capitalist instead. Daka, who says, Louis, my kink, is merging with the Chinks Le Vau. Yep. Go on Worski. Andy Worski doesn't know who the fuck I am. It's like the same people telling me to go on Drunken Peasants. It's like, good luck now. They don't know who the fuck I am, dude. I'm like I'm some no name with 14K fucking subs. None of these people know who the fuck I am. Are all the universities controlled by millennial communists? No, they're not. There are boomer communists in those universities or Gen X communists in those universities, but I wouldn't say they're exactly controlled by millennials. It's just the millennials that are attending them. So the second R says, will you be the next Kraut, not less autistic? I don't even understand what that question means. What do you mean by that? Will I be the next Kraut? What does that mean? I don't even go on people's streams, and you think that I'm going to be coordinating anything? Mitch Connor says, I'm an atheist too, but I don't necessarily think spirituality is dependent on the idea of God. Maybe more of a moment where you realize a different perspective of something with reality. Again, Mitch, no. The answer is no. I've had a couple like epiphany moments in my life where I've realized I've come to some conclusion and changed my position on things or whatever. But I haven't had any kind of experience that I would describe as spiritual. So, you know, I when people say that, I have no relation to it because I've never had that kind of experience. Kyle Kalinske is better than you. Nice troll. I know that ain't true. It's a nice troll, bro. I have not played Doki Doki Literature Club there, Captain Carr, but I have. It's on my radar now. Louis Yuri is the future Le Vau. Yes. Is the skeptic community over? Not that I. No. Stop being worthless and join the Navy. No, that's all right. Your answer on the trap question, I've already given it before. Louis, the future is yellow Le Vau. Yes. Or Louis, I should start saying. Apparently that is the correct way of saying it. I'm not really sure. I don't know why. I've grown up with people named Louis, and I've always called them Louis. I've never heard anyone say Louis, with the exception of people saying it as a nickname spelled Louie instead of Louis. But whatever. What are my thoughts on ethical child porn? I'll leave that for Destiny to decide. He's the fucking the expert on ethical child porn. Will you convert Vernaculus to become a weeb? I don't know Vernaculus that well. I can say that I forgot who it was. It may have been Scrump or somebody else who I kept sending shit to and like had a direct impact on, where they started getting more invested in fucking like anime shit and Asian women. It may have been Scrump, I don't remember. But I basically sent some shit to somebody, and like basically they started to like mirror what I was doing. It's like I think they're doing it seriously. I like converted somebody to wanting to bang Asian women. It's pretty funny. Yes, that is actually true. Louis, I can't pronounce shit Le Vau. That's actually the correct way to say my name. How many hentai figurines do I own? Well, I do. The only anime or Japanese figurine that I own is one of a Junko Enoshima, where she has like her two fingers by her forehead, and then she's pointing her other hand out. And oh god, I can't remember the name of the bear in Danganronpa, but it's mimicking her gesture. That's the only one, I believe. Everything else is all Western. I don't really have that many figurines. Just do a weeb stream with Raging Golden Eagle. Well, Raging Golden Eagle actually follows me, and I do follow him, so we both know each other to some small degree. But the thing is that like he's actually way more into it than I am. Like the only thing that I do that involves anything Japanese is occasionally play a mainstream Japanese game, play a shitload of visual novels, and not watch anime, and also pump out a lot of propaganda for people to fuck Asian women. That's what I do. And it's funny because I don't know if I want to say it here because I haven't worked on it just yet, but I've been building a file to do a video. I haven't come up with a title yet, but I think like the working title is The Superior Race, and it's just going to be talking about Asians. I haven't been able to see if I can make a full video out of that just yet, but I have all these different articles where it's basically like it's just amazing shit like one of the statistics out there is that like they ask people who's more willing to have sex with someone outside of their race, and the top two, and this is true, I'm pretty sure this is true, I'd have to look it up again. I saw this and I laughed. It was like, who are the top two that are of people that are willing to have sex outside of the race? And number one and number two is Asian women and white men. I saw that poll and I'm like, I was like, I gotta do a fucking video on this. I gotta fucking do a video on this. So I started trying to build a video around that, and it hasn't progressed too far just yet, but I've looked up some statistics about that. I thought that was the funniest fucking thing in the world. Somebody says blacks. It's actually not true. It is true for black men to some degree, but it's not as true as the other. Is what I just said. Asian women is number one, by the way. Asian women is number one for more than willing to have sex outside of their race. Oh man, that was the funniest thing. It was the funniest fucking thing. I just read that. I was like, I gotta do a fucking video with this. But like I said, I gotta piece it together. I gotta make an actual video out of it. But I've been just trying to do that, and it might not happen. But anyways, let's wrap this up because I've been saying let's wrap this up for like 30 minutes. So one last question, guys, and then we'll end the stream. I think we hit a record with this one. I think we were at 400 something for a while. So this, I think, was a record stream. Let me just make sure there's no more super chats. Yeah, okay, there's not. I'm waiting. How do we spam you onto Worski's stream? I don't know. If you went on to Andy Worski's streams, and he is like, apparently he streams all the time, and you said get Louis Le Vau on your stream, he would have absolutely fucking no idea who you're talking about. He would think you're trolling him. So it wouldn't happen. Who's taller, Destiny or your dick? Well, I don't know. Maybe I got to give Destiny some credit there. He might actually be taller than my dick. I'm not going to say he is, just because I'm not sure, because I haven't seen his full measurement yet. I have seen some photos of him that may actually prove the opposite true, but we'll just have to see. I'm not on 4chan or 8chan. You can feel free to do whatever you want there, Far Squawk. Whatever you want to, man. Would I stream with Styx Hexenhammer 666? I guess. I mean, it'd be interesting to him because I know he talks about politics constantly, so he'd be an interesting person to stream with. I'm not like, the thing is that I'm not really sure how to like really get into contact with a lot of these people. And I think my real detriment is the fact that I'm so fucking small. You know what I mean? Like, I really think that that's what inhibits me from really reaching out more, because if I had, say, like 50K subscribers, and I did this honestly as a job or full time more so than I do now, like I would make an active push to reach out to different people to get myself more known. But there's not really a lot of incentive for me to really do much in that way, because I don't really know Styx Hexenhammer. I'm not like, I watch his content every now and then. I don't really watch Andy Worski's shit. You know, it's just like, I watch Sargon, and I can send one fucking message and get Sargon on here. You know what I mean? Like, I know him, I watch his shit, so it's just easier to do that than to, shop around and go to these different people who, one, I barely watch, and two, have no fucking clue who I am. I do. Someone said I have a manlet channel. That is true. My channel is a manlet, or manlet-esque. It's still very small, and there's not a whole lot I can do. I have a fucking virgin channel, dude. It's not very great. Are you going to crash Skeptic and Shoe's wedding? No. Why? That's another pair that have no clue who the fuck I am. Again, like, most of these people have no fucking clue who I am. How many Asian women do you stalk via private investigative means? None that I'm not paid to do. I am 5 tall. I have 5'10". I'm not going to the wedding. Forgettable. Maybe I only had one stream with Armored Skeptic. I think I had two with Shoe on Head, but that was a long time ago. I gotta take one of these questions and end this fucking stream. That's all I know. Your channel's smaller than TJ's dick. I'm not sure. My channel's not very small. It is pretty fucking small, but I got over 10K. That's gotta mean something. Boogie Rant. There's not going to be any Boogie Rant. People can enjoy watching him be miserable. Like I don't really care. I've already said everything that I need to say about him. I actually the other day moved. What was it? The Total Biscuit rant? No, it was the Ethan Klein rant. Ethan from H3H3. I moved that to a playlist that I have for highlights, which is like the videos that I think are my better videos. I moved that video to my better videos category because I think that may be one of my best fucking videos. Because I fucking demolish him in that video. I already know Uzulu. I don't really watch his stuff, and I don't really know if he watches mine that much. I already know Uzulu, but I don't really know. Like he's never invited me on his stream. I don't know if I did invite him on the other day. I did invite Uzulu on the other day, and he couldn't make it. So I already know Uzulu, but it's just timing. When do we get a hat full of topics that Lewis chooses randomly to rant on, like a ranting game show? That's actually a really funny idea, Farsquawk. That's actually a really funny idea. Like you have like the I don't know, like the guests come up with the topics or something, or yeah, just get a hat with a bunch of random topics in it and just pick one out and scream about it. That would be that'd be funny. Why hasn't knowing Sargon gotten you good subs? The man is bigger than everyone mentioned. Yeah, I mean, I have gotten subs from Sargon. I have. The only difference is that I haven't ever featured anything on his channel. I'm pretty sure that if I feature something on his channel, I probably get like 10K subs in a day. But it's just, it hasn't worked out. You know what I mean? It hasn't worked out in that way where it's been the case where I put a video on his channel and it's something he only does every so often. So that hasn't really just worked out. But it's always something that could happen, But I also don't do this full time, which is usually the difference between the people he puts on his channel. A lot of the people Sargon puts on his channel that he features are people that do YouTube full time, and I don't do that. It's fine. People here for Sargon. People already been dropping off for quite a while, so that's fine by me, man. I don't care. I don't know. Is it just time to end the stream? Should I just end it? Should we just say fucking end it regardless of anything? Stop bashing conservatives. Well, I got my $200 donor that says end it. I'm not gonna go to bed, at least not for a little bit. I got a lot of people saying end it. I got a lot of people. Kill Me says, Louis, you deserve more recognition. I get that a lot. People keep saying that. Typical Louis. You got your cash, now you just quit. That's right. I got my end of this, bitch. I already got my free speech, so I'm out of here. You didn't even dump on the Star Wars. You can't. Okay. Actually, I shouldn't admit that because there's actually a story about why I didn't do a review on The Last Jedi, but I'm not sure if I should say because it might affect some insurance things. There's a reason why, but I won't go into it. I'm the new dark side, Phil. Okay. Can you rub one off to a retarded anime girl? I don't think so. All right, I guess we're just gonna end this shit. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Thanks again to Sargon for stopping by. Thank you to whatever the fuck your name is that gave me a bunch of that free speech my chat. Far Squawk, there you are. Free speech my chat. Thank you for everyone that donated to the super chat and supports my channel and everything else. If you need to, you can follow me on Twitter, on Gab, on Maker Support, on Patreon. You can follow my affiliate links, buy some shit at PlayAsia or JList. You can go free speech their platforms, free speech my platforms, free speech everyone's platforms. Go free speech yourself. Thanks for stopping by. And hopefully in the near future, I can have more content for you.